Hello, my Teaserking family. Having my barbecue from last night and played my poker last night. And it was fun last night. It was a good night, good birthday. All the girls wished me a happy birthday. I was happy. Jenna didn't have internet since Monday, so I didn't get it from her. I was like, where's my birthday wish? And this morning I got it. So let's see. So I go get barbecue. So here's what here's what the ribs look like. The pork ribs, and I got chicken and ribs. So I tell the waitress, I tell the owner it's my birthday. I'm here for my birthday, and I'm going to go play poker. Then I get a waitress, and I say, well, it's my birthday. I don't know why I do that. It's fun, and it's my birthday, and I want to, enjoy it since I can't be with the girls. That'll be coming up in Spain in a couple of weeks, I guess. So, I'm not expecting, I think I got a free Diet Coke, but I don't even know if I got a free Diet Coke. So I end up, they wanted to give me a free dessert. And I said, well, I can't eat the dessert. I can have, how about a drink? I said, no. I said, how about a Diet Pepsi? So I get Diet Pepsi. And, at a restaurant, you have your table, then there's the big aisle, and then there's the other, especially at a barbecue place, right? So this lady's with her fiance, probably 50 years old, off to go see a musical after, she's telling me. So she walks over. I don't know her. I've never seen her before, never met her before. But she knows it's my birthday because she heard it, which is scary enough if she's kind of listening in. That you got to be careful who listens to your conversations. So she says, oh, it's nice. What are you doing? Well, I'm going to go play poker at MGM. I says, I would get the buffet there, but they got rid of it. So I come here to eat, and then I go down there to play. And she's like, I'm going to the thing, da-da-da-da-da. Next thing I know, the owner, who's our silver guy, who will take silver for meals, comes over, and he says, that woman paid for your meal for your birthday. But she wanted to wait until she left because she was with her fiance and didn't want to give okay, what kind of marriage are they going to have when she's flirting with me in front of her fiance who doesn't know, and she's keeping secrets, paid for my meal, but I don't have any information. I can't thank her and the whole thing. And, don't tell them until I leave because I would thank her and the fiance wouldn't understand. So I'm like, okay, you're off to a real good start with this marriage. That's the thing this is why marriages don't work. If you can't be honest with your partner and have no secrets. So you've got to say, I was just doing a nice thing. It was the kid's birthday. I did it. If you can't tell this guy that, what the fuck do you have? So you don't have much of a marriage, which is why I told the kid in the hot tub about the marriage. Where I'm telling him, why are you getting married? Because I love her. And my point was, what happens when you meet another girl? Or what happens if you are trying to be nice and pay for somebody's meal? Are you going to tell her? Are there going to be secrets? If there's secrets, it won't last long. And that's what I was trying to really hammer home to the kid was I was married 17 years, divorced. And now I'm not looking for girls. They just pop in, right? And if I like them, I can read them. And if they're nice and I feel I can be myself with them, then we go out. That's why I go to Europe. I can be myself with Jenna. I can be myself with Daria. I can be myself with Irina. Well, Irina, we're not dating. I'm her guardian angel. But I tell her about the girls too. Like I told her I was going to Lisbon. And then now I'm off to Spain. Anyway, so I got a free meal, but not from the restaurant, from this lady who happened to be sitting across the aisle 10 feet away, hearing that it was my birthday, coming over to talk to me. I assume that was my INFJ she was attracted to, because I'm just sitting there by myself on my phone looking at YouTubes or emails. I mean, I had no contact with this woman at all. The waitress kept coming over. It was her first day. And she kept saying, oh, my name's Lana, da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, I go, lady, here's a tip for you. You should learn the individual. Some people want to talk, some people don't. Some people are nice, some people aren't. So you've got to learn the person to learn how to speak to them and what to do. Just like you learn the market. Everything comes back to Austrian economics. So it's like learning the market, right? I said, you can't treat everybody the same, because some people want to talk, some people don't want to talk. Who knows what you can do. Hey, Bobby Bo. I was just telling, I got my meal paid for at the restaurant. So here's my ribs, Bobby Bo. Just chomping into those right now. I didn't eat my whole meal, but I'll get into that in a minute. It's no pig's ears, but it's fucking good. So they don't serve pig ears. It's a barbecue place. Maybe you should open up a pig ears restaurant, because nobody serves it. You'd have a monopoly. Yeah, well, that's why I go there a lot. So, like I said, out of nowhere, this woman across the aisle pays for my meal. See, now they let you say damn. They didn't cancel that, so that's good. So I start talking to the owner about gold and silver. He says, oh, yeah, I keep hearing, 20 years ago, buy gold, buy silver, it's going to go. And it never does. And I said, you're frustrated. I understand that. But please understand the reasons why. Now we have BRICS. The U.S. is no longer the petrodollar. And all these countries don't want U.S. dollars. So keep that in mind. And we have heavy inflation with a heavy debt. And now they're raising interest rates. So keep that in mind. And I said, that's the difference. And I sent him the one with Andrew Maguire and the other guy saying how it's about to go. So I sent him a text on that one. So he gave me his phone number. So when I go to the gold store, to text him if they got gold. So I do that. But anyway, so at the end, we're having our conversation. The lady paid for your meal. And I was kind of like hoping he would have paid for my meal, because I go there a lot and I help him on the gold and silver. And I taught him how to run his restaurant by not making the ribs $45. No, it's not that he didn't want. He's like, I keep hearing the price is going to go up. The price is going to go up for 20 years, and it never goes. And he has bought some gold, and who knows? He's probably getting kickback from his wife or from other people going, it never goes up. It never goes up. But I'm giving him the reason. So he did buy some gold on my account. And then he's probably, I'm sure, I told him at $25 an ounce, you can't go wrong. I says, if you hold dollars, they're going to zero. If you buy the silver and it takes a long time till it goes up and you need the money, you can always go back to the store and he'll give you $22, $23 for your $25 silver. I says, you can always get your money back. You're not really spending your money. You're trading it for gold and silver. And he kind of was like, yeah. And his IT guy was there. And his IT guy is like, high-fiving me because he understands gold and silver. So this is the problem with America and what we are fighting. But it's actually great for us that they're keeping the price low. Oh, yeah, that's cool, Professor. She must have felt the INFJ vibe and liked the professor. By the way, what you ordered with the ribs, I got, it comes with the nice creamy coleslaw, and then I got chicken. Well, I'll have to pick it up. So the way it is, it's a ribs chicken combo. I get about 8 ribs. Then I get a half a chicken barbecued. I got the other half in here. About 8 ribs. You get coleslaw, and I got a baked potato, which I've already eaten. You can substitute a salad for the coleslaw or the baked for $1.99, which I sometimes do, but I got so much veggies here, and I had an omelet. I was like, I'll just eat the coleslaw. And it's a little creamy, probably got some sugar in it, but okay. But instead of the fries, sometimes I get the fries. I got the baked potato. So that was good. And that was it. It was like $21. I don't know if they were going to charge me for the Pepsi or not. It seemed like it's your birthday. It's on us. That's how I thought it was going to be. Because the way she said it, oh, it's your birthday. How about a cake? How about this or that? And I thought that was on, because I don't know. I don't really just get water there. I don't want to pay $2.50 for a glass of Pepsi. Well, they refill it, but it's crazy. Well, that's why I eat there. I love the ribs and I love the chicken, and it's very healthy for me. You just got to watch the barbecue sauce. It is sugar. Was that root beer? It's been a long time I've had a cold root beer. No, this is Red Pop. This is Faygo Red Pop Diet, but I got Diet Pepsi or Diet Coke at the restaurant. No, but I haven't had root beer in a while either. It is a unique flavor, but I haven't gotten that. So, oops, I got my keyboard wet, but I'm not typing, so I think it'll be okay. Okay, it's just moving the cursor down. So I go from there to poker. Tough night at poker. And the fact I wasn't getting cards. I go to one table. It's a bunch of 2-9, queen, boom, boom. Finally, I get a pair of aces, and I get somebody pretty good. I think I made it 15. I get a call. Then I bet 30. I get a call, and then I bet 45, and he folds. So I won something on it. Not as much as I wanted to, but that was okay. Professor making Bobby Bowl want to get some barbecue. Well, I make you get Chinese, and now I make you get silver, and I make you get barbecue. Yeah, that's the way it works, Bobby Bowl. That's what commercials are, right? So I should start doing commercials. The Professor's Barbecue. Bobby Bowl is our head chef. So I'm having a tough time getting cards. I get a few hands. I hit a few hands. I bet $15. I get a call. Then I bet $20, and they're folding. So I'm not getting enough good hands to make plays until a little bit later. So I get, I have king, queen, and the flop comes queen, king. Now I can start playing. So I check, and the guy bets $8. Heads up. This is the big stack who bets a lot. So I check to him $8. Okay. I check to him again. Hey, Andy. You're killing NCAA basketball and NBA. I'm the real Teaserking because I do it in all sports, not just football. Very interesting comment, Andy. So I'm checking. He bet 8. Then I check again. So I'm first to act, and he bets 18. And then on the river, I check, and I go, and he checks. I go, I was waiting for the 24. And I show over the boat, and he's, but I played it differently. So in the beginning, I'm playing the cards one way. I'm betting when I have the hand because I have aces and I got to protect them. But when I flop a full house, now I can check. Now he's confused. He doesn't know if I'm going to bet or check. There was another hand that I got. I don't remember it. And I was heads up with another guy. And he bets like 15. And then I call and I check and he bets another 15 and I call. And we get to the river and I check and he checks. And I had another big full house. And now I got them all confused because most of these guys just play it one way. Sometimes I'm aggressive, but when I got the goods, I'll check. So now you don't know when I'm checking, do I have the big hand or am I really fishing for, a straight or flush? And so I got them confused, which is, see, once I get cards, you'll never figure me out. But if I get 2-7 for a half hour, I'm just throwing them in because you'll lose money every time. Now, in the tables I don't like is when I bet, it's $2 to see the flop and I got 8-9 of diamond. Okay, I'm going to call I'll see the flop. And then somebody at the end makes a $20 bet. Well, I got to fold. I'm not going to stay 8-9 against 20. Does the guy really have a hand or not? I don't know. But that's the problem when you get to certain tables where they fire the bet up, even if it's 7 and it's 25. I'm not going to see a $25 bet. I'm assuming he's got a bigger hand than I do, considering I don't have anything, but I have a hand I want to see a flop with, it's straight or flush hand. But I'm not going to see it for 25. I'll see it for 2 or maybe 7, but I'm not going to see it for more. Okay. That's why my friend is calling me. Do you tease basketball? Well, I haven't really looked into it. I am documenting the NCAA tournament. I did a list of all the teams and doing it like I do football. I don't know that I'll tease it. I'll have to get more into does 5.5 points, as you said, help a basketball game because it's far easier to score than football, right? Football is really hard to get touchdowns most of the time. Sometimes that's why I look at the defense. If you're playing you're playing, the 75 Steelers, there's not going to be scoring. You don't really need to tease. However, if you're playing the Chiefs this year, they don't have much of a defense. You can score on them. So is a teaser worth it in basketball where it's very easy to dribble and make a 3-pointer? So that I don't know. I have to look into that. But I am doing college, so I'm waiting for the bracket to come out. And I've got the teams. Looks like Houston's the best team. Statistically wise, a very good offense and a very good defense. They score like 80, give up 55. I mean, it's like a Georgia defense in basketball. So I don't know. I have to look into that, but I do not do anything until I look into it. That's why I get kind of not stubborn, but after I look at it and I make my decision, being an INFJ, that's what we do. We're very open until we've figured it out. And then once, like, I'm taking the over in the Super Bowl. Now, nobody's getting me off of that bet because both defenses suck. And I know that. And you got Mahomes, and they're going to score, and Philly, and they're going to score. So you knew it would be a high-scoring game. So once I determined that, I'm not getting off of that no matter what. And that's what makes me successful is once I figure it out, I'm not changing my mind because I hear some idiot on BetMGM talk about it. Bobby, Andy, tell your friends that there's only one Teaser King, and that's the professor. Thank you, Bobby. And Andy, betting basketball doesn't mean you're the Teaser King. The Teaser King, because I tease football, it's a teaser bet, and I'm the best at it. That's why I'm the Teaser King. It's got nothing to do with because I do sports or not, how many different sports. I do baseball. I don't do teasers in that. but that's, you got to earn the real Teaser King. It's not, it's not like, because you bet basketball and you're successful at it, which I'm very happy for you. Doesn't make you, doesn't make you a Teaser King. I'm sorry to tell you that. How when he only teased football? He is a Teaser King. I'm the Teaser King. Okay, Andy, we're not going there. This is a class. Do you like alternative line? No, you're a Teaser King, not the Teaser King. Okay, Andy, bring it back to the class. So if you're not going to add value to the class, we won't be looking at your comments anymore. So keep that in mind. Bobby, this is what we get, right? We get a guy gets off schedule and, hey, great. I'm happy that you can pick basketball. This is not about who's better, me or you. You'll never touch me. You're saying you win. Where's your website? Where's your picks? And you got to produce your picks before. So let's hear tonight's picks and let's see how you do. You're killing it, but that's not the point of this class. The point of this class is me to teach. And I don't see how I can teach with you saying you're the real Teaser King. I'm not. A, that doesn't add any value to the class, and B, it's a stupid comment. So if you want to make comments, you make good comments that are good for the whole class, not to kind of insult me, right? Okay, that's fine. I'm warning you. But that's I'm glad I'm teaching so everybody learns. I teach silver and gold, so you guys go out and buy it. So when the price goes to $2,000 an ounce, you then made a lot of money. I don't make any money if you buy silver and gold. You do, but I'm teaching you that. This is what this is. This is me trying to help you make money. So if you have time to analyze basketball and you're very good at it, I advise you to make a site and sell your picks like I do. You'll get a lot of buyers because most people are idiots. I don't know, Andy, do you own gold and silver? Bobby wants to know. Do I like, I don't know what an alternative line in baseball is. Is that runs as opposed to money line? And if so, I usually, I don't know enough about it to know if I make more money in an alternative. If you got the right odds, but it's tough because baseball, it was hard to score. Now it's kind of crazy, but probably because I like it in football. But then, we're trying to get under 3 and over 7. What are you trying to do in baseball? But it is hard to score. Yeah, I only heard of the run line where it's usually 1.5 for baseball in the closest things to teasing. Well, no, it's not teasing. Teasing is taking a line and adding for, like basketball, right? So you got Golden State playing the Lakers and Golden State's laying 3, and then you kick it up to 8.5, or you take Golden State plus 2.5. That's teasing when you adjust the line. If it's a money line versus a run line, that's now the tease would be take the 1.5 to 5.5. That would be teasing in baseball, but there is no teasing in baseball that I can see. You change the line from 1.5 to 2.5, or the underdog from 1.5 to 5. If you think it matters, I would say then if you could find a trend in it where going from 1.5 to 2.5 makes a difference. But how the hell do you do that? If you're facing Verlander, the bet's under. I'm not fucking with the runs. If you're facing McCullough from Tampa, it's the same thing. It's nobody's going to hit the guy. It's an under, but I don't know. Look at the Kershaw games. I would say Kershaw's an over every game, and I would say that I would not. I would go 1.5 to 2.5 with Kershaw because they always seem to win 10-0 when Kershaw. No, like 10-5 when Kershaw pitches. You think they're going to be under games? They're never under games. I think they know how to hit them now with this bullshit hesitation move. And he reminds me of the Pittsburgh runner from Michigan State, Le'Veon Bell, who ran in slow motion in the games. It was funny as hell. Everybody else, boom, 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 they go. Barry Sanders, Gale Sayers. But Le'Veon Bell is going to stop at the line. Probably the stupidest running I've ever seen. So you'd have to understand laying 1.5 is a big thing in baseball anyway, but to go to 2.5, it's probably the game the underdog wins more than any other game. A lot of it, you got to see if the coach is sitting the players down or not. Usually on Sundays, I notice that streaks get broken. And I remember the Tigers, I think, in 84 or Sparky Anderson, and he'd all of a sudden it'd be Sunday, and then half the regulars are sitting on the bench to get rest. He rested them all the same day, and you're like, you're fucked. So you got to wait for the lineup to come out to make the bet to see if he's playing the regulars or the backups. I think pitching, I heard a stat yesterday that blew my mind. Let me read Bobby's post. Yeah, I think you can only buy a couple of points in baseball, but no teasing, at least to not my knowledge. So here is a stat I heard yesterday, Bobby. The Tigers are some spring training Tiger baseball on the way to swim. And they made a comment, none of the pitchers pitched more than 127 innings in a whole year. And I know Nolan Ryan used to go 300 innings, and Jack Morris and, the good pitchers would pitch a lot. And here I'm sitting there going, well, wait a minute. So we have a pitch count of 20 pitches. And they're going every fifth day, and they're still getting injured. So obviously this bullshit pitch count, this bullshit 5-day rest doesn't work because they're all getting injured anyway. Maybe that's why they're getting injured. They're not building their arms up. I know if I start running, I can't run because of my back too often, but if I start a new exercise, I do a half mile, then a mile. Like if I go walk the lake because it's getting warmer out, I'll do a half mile, then I'll do 3/4 of a mile, then I'll do a mile or a mile. I build up to it, and then I can do 2 miles around the lake. So what they're doing obviously is not working, right? The pitch count, clearly they're all getting hurt. Then you have this fifth day, so what are we going to do? Make it a 20 pitch count, and once a month you'll pitch, and then maybe you won't get hurt. Well, good luck finding more than 2 pitchers that belong on your team that belong in Major League Baseball, because most of these guys are minor leaguers, as you can see. When you get to the third or fourth pitcher and his ERA is 5, probably shouldn't be in the major leagues. Only the guys, to me, under 3 should be in the major leagues, which you maybe have 1 or 2 on your team, or these guys in the bullpen who really piss me off. They pitch an inning on Monday, and then they can't pitch Tuesday because they pitched an inning on Monday. What the fuck? Are you kidding me? These pitchers can't go back-to-back days for an inning? A guy pitched 10 pitches. First of all, I wouldn't pull him. I'd let him go 2 innings. And secondly, he's coming back the next day. He's a professional athlete pitcher. I pitched, well, not in a high level, but I pitched when I was younger. And I threw every day. I could throw today, tomorrow, the next day, I played every day. I mean, what the fuck? I just read an article that Vince Young filed for bankruptcy and now works full-time at the University of Texas as a career development officer. $100K a year the guy's making? Are you kidding me? So again, had Vince Young bought gold and silver, he wouldn't be bankrupt, would he be? It's simple things like that. Didn't he buy a house? So obviously he didn't pay for his house. What about his cars? What did he do with his money? The guy makes millions of dollars. He probably pissed it all away. See, this is my point. Then you can't keep playing, right? So it's kind of like a porn star or something. You can do it for a few years and then you can't keep doing it. And that's why they've got to save their money, but they don't know anything about Austrian economics. And they all end up broke or on drugs or whatever. There was this girl I was watching on YouTube. It was like Interview with a Porn Star. I didn't know who she was. She had made like $1 million, but then she spent it all on drugs and ended up penny. She said, my last job, I made $1,500 check, and that was it. Now, there's two problems I see. One, she's a fucking idiot for doing the drugs. Two, she's even a bigger idiot for not saving the money. And three, she should have got paid a lot more than $1,500 because the girls aren't smart enough to brand themselves. So if I'm a very popular movie star, I'm Brad Pitt, I'm the professor, you brand yourself, right? You make the brand, you sell t-shirts, you do whatever that Brad Pitt can do that's outside of the movies because you're a fucking popular guy. Have cologne, have a clothing line, tour guide, do something where you use your name to brand yourself. Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Bobby Bo. I mean, you've got to do that. Mickey Mantle, he'd sign autographs and make, a lot of money just to sign autographs because he's Mickey Mantle. I mean, that's what you do. Why do you think Mantle and Mays did the thing for Trump casinos? It was their name. That's it. Oh, or you see him drinking. You see Bobby Bo drinking a Coca-Cola. Sales of Coca-Cola will skyrocket, right? That's the point. Bobby Bo's shoes. If Bobby gets whatchamacallit to where he gets he gets God, I keep fucking up names. He gets LeBron James to wear his shoes or Tiger Woods to wear his shoes. Guess what happens to Bobby Bo's sales? They go way up. However, you got to make enough money off of it to pay LeBron James or Tiger Woods to appear in the ad, but you are branding Tiger Woods and LeBron James, wear the shoes, and you want to wear what LeBron wears because most people in this country are a bunch of fucking idiots. They're all like, oh, and if LeBron wears it or if Tiger uses Nike, I got to use Nike golf balls. I, of course, go the other way and go, well, if he uses them, I don't want to use them. Let's see. What am I missing here? Vince Young, Andy Bonilla, that's very old news. Bad money management by Vince Young. It's not even by Young. It's his advice. Who's advising him? Now, it's bad if he didn't get an advisor. See, that's why you talk to the professor. I set you straight. So it behooves you to be intelligent to get somebody like me to manage your money and or advise you in a way that you can manage your own money. That's really what you want to get to. Bobby, you listening to me, you're managing your own money, right? You're managing your health and you're managing your gold and silver, and I'm getting you out of the stocks. So by me helping you, you're avoiding all this mistakes that's going to happen. People are going to lose their houses, their stocks, and you're going to be sitting in gold and silver going, oh, too bad. That's a shame. But you know what? I'm not in the market, and I didn't lose any money in my bank account. It's all in gold and silver. See, so it's just finding the right person to listen to or have the advisor. But you need an Austrian advisor. Most of these guys are going to be selling, buy stocks and stay away from gold and silver, which is amazing to me. Random question, Professor. But what are your thoughts on Stephen A. Smith and Skip? Do you think they are good analysts? I don't really watch them. I'm not a big Skip guy. He's more to the flair. I mean, he's just making outrageous comments without backing them up. Stephen A. Smith, I learned as a conservative, so I have a little more respect for him. The problem is they'll make these, it'd be like saying buy gold, but not explaining why to buy gold. So I say it really loud and passionate, but I don't explain it. What good is it? So I don't really. I'll listen to Egon and Alistair McLeod more than I would listen to Stephen A. Smith and whatchamacallit and Skip Bayless. What are you listening to them for sports? Well, okay. Is this guy going to sign here? Lamar Jackson. I heard a lot of Lamar Jackson talk yesterday. Where's he going? Who the fuck's going to pay the guy? He's not worth 35, 50 million. And then he's got his mother as his agent. Unless she's a lawyer and she's an agent. See, that's where that's not fair. The mother's the agent doesn't mean if she's a hot lawyer, I don't mean hot looking, I mean hot, very smart lawyer. There's nothing wrong with that, right? But if she's not, then he's an idiot. He needs an attorney to represent him. But who's going to sign him was the question. Then I can't believe fucking Daniel Jones. They're paying a guy $37 million for 5 years. Do they want to keep losing? They got to be out of their mind. The guy's terrible. And so good luck, New York. I mean, this is the problem. They're too stupid to understand he's not good. He's okay, but he's not good. So if you rank them, Brady, Rodgers, Mahomes, Joe Montana up here, then you maybe have Stafford and Drew Brees and Peyton Manning here. Keep going. Oh, Daniel Jones is down here because he can't complete a fucking pass. All he wants to do is run. And if all he wants to do is run, what good is that? That's, as we saw, that's not what you want in a quarterback. You want Mahomes. Mahomes won the Super Bowl because he threw the ball over. He made the one run when he needed to, but basically he's hitting Kelsey and when he needs that on third down to keep the drive going, which you can't do with a running quarterback. They're not going to let you fade back and run for first downs every time. I mean, that's just not going to happen. That's just not what football's about. They can throw speed out there. You can add 2 safeties to the linebacker core like San Diego did against Jackson the first year when the speed's gone. So I need a guy who can throw the ball because you can't stop Montana or Brady or Rodgers. When they get hot, you can't stop them. Bobby, did Egon come out with another video? No, I haven't seen one. He just came out with it last week. They usually do once a week. He doesn't do that often. He does have a newsletter on, I think, SwissGold.com. If you watch that Egon video I showed you, at the end of it, they say, where can anybody follow you? And he says it's like goldswitzerland.com, and he writes a column every week. So you could watch that video, or I can watch it and get you the thing. I watch Stephen A. and Skip sometimes for entertainment. Well, that's all they are. That's why I don't watch ESPN. It's too much bias, and it's just a waste of information. Oh, yeah, that's right, Professor. I was stunned when I saw what the Giants did with Daniel Jones. Wow, what a horrible move. Yeah, I just don't get it. It's like if Jacksonville signs Trevor Lawrence to one of these $30, $40 million contracts, you got to be out of your fucking mind. He's not good. This is the problem now in football. You have this rookie 5-year deal where it's not a lot. And then when they get to the second deal, then you pay them $40, $50 million. I mean, if you want to know what inflation is, that's what it obviously $50 million for Lamar Jackson is not what it used to be, right? It's like 10 million, right? Because now we're in inflated dollars, right? So the 20 million contract that Rodgers and Brady signed 5 years ago is now a 40, 50 million. It's the same dollars, basically. And then the problem is, what are these idiots going to do with the money when they get it? I think Jones is even worse than Lawrence. Well, they're both terrible. Neither of them are NFL quarterbacks. And, you know, all we can do is bet against them, take advantage of. And then the Giants are going to wonder why they can't win. See, there's two different things that go on in football. The teams that suck get the easy schedule, but once you make the playoffs, you get the hard schedule. And with the hard schedule, and they got to play Philly and Dallas every year twice. That's 4 losses. Now what are you going to do? Now you're going to get the harder schedule. You get the Friscos. You'll get the Seattle. You'll get, Minnesota. That's not hard. And then the Carolina. Yeah, so it's a pretty easy schedule, but you still have you still get the 1 and 2 teams in the division instead of the 3, 4. So they won't play the Bears and the Lions. They'll get Green Bay and Minnesota, let's say. So it's a harder schedule, but the NFC is so bad right now. But in the AFC, you're fucked, right? You're a team look at Jacksonville. They make the playoffs, and now here comes, you're going to play Buffalo and Miami, and even if you or the Jets, whoever came in second there, and then you're going to have Cincinnati and Baltimore, and you're going to get Kansas City and San Diego. So you're going to get the meat of the schedule. So all of a sudden, Jacksonville will be lucky to go 5 and 12 now. I can't believe there's 17 games. Then one of my pet peeves is somebody will break a record, but the record they broke was like Barry Sanders did it in 14 games, and this guy does it in 17 games. Well, you can't compare 14, it's like baseball, Bobby. You hit, 500 home runs and 1,000 at bats, and then somebody did it, or no, let's say in 400 games you hit 500 home runs, and then somebody else does it, like Hank Aaron did it in 20 years. He hit his 700 homers versus Babe Ruth, let's say. So, I mean, it's totally different because the guy did it in far less time, and you're making it just a number instead of saying, wait a minute, he did it in, 200 games. This guy took 500 games. That's kind of a bad one, but it's the idea of you're trying to say that a guy did something in, a 17-week schedule versus a 14-week schedule. And it just doesn't add up. It's really stupid. But that's what some of these guys do. One guy said, well, this is the first time, they've never lost to this team. And they played twice. And, 10 years ago, because in the NFL, you play the other, so if it's like Detroit playing Pittsburgh, well, Pittsburgh's never lost to Detroit. They played them 3 times in 20 years. What a stupid comment. And that's what we get from these morons. The only Jones worse than Daniel Jones is Mac Jones. Well, him and Trevor and Tua, all these guys that I don't know why they're in the league. Carson Wentz, but then I get bothered by like Herbert and those guys that they're not as good as they should be. Like, how did Herbert not score a touchdown in the second half against Jacksonville? I mean, I think that's where the play calling got in. Right. The play calling needs to was probably more conservative for San Diego, trying to sit on the lead also. This is why you've got to play art of war. Your strength goes against their weakness the whole game. If they can't stop Keenan Allen, and then you get in the second half with the 27-0 lead, and you're dicking around running the ball, not throwing to Keenan Allen, which is your strength and their weakness, that's a coaching problem. You can't play not to lose. You have to play to win. Keep taking advantage of your strength versus their weakness. And I see that all the time in football where all of a sudden they'll go to a prevent defense or they'll rush 2, and then the guys will be 15 yards on the line of scrimmage. Who's the idiot thinking that's a good idea? So you're letting the guy run 15 yards off the line, and this is what happened in the KC Buffalo game with the 13 seconds left. If you watch it, the Buffalo defense is 20 yards off the line. And then when he catches it, so you're giving him 20. When he catches it, he's going to get another 10 or 15 because there's nobody there to bother him. You've got to interrupt the routes. You can't worry. You can't play scared. Oh, well, let's put everybody at the goal line. What good is that? You give it to a good runner like Barry Sanders at the 10, he's going to score 100% of the time. You'll never tackle him. I don't care if the whole team's at the goal line. You're not going to tackle the guy. He'll put a move on you. He only needs 10 yards. He'll do it every time. So these coaches are fucking idiots, as we know. And that's what happens. I was in Orlando last week. Oh, good for you, Bob. You went to Disney World? Paid $150 to get into the gate. I was in Orlando last weekend, saw a very attractive Spanish woman walking around with a Tua jersey. You see, now this is where you carry some old Bobby Bowe New York Met jerseys and say, here's a real player. You know, this Bobby Bonilla, man, he's the man, not this Tua. And attractive Spanish woman. Could she speak English? It's probably his girlfriend, because who else would buy a Tua jersey? Anyway, so yeah, that's these guys are, well, I mean, $50 million for a fucking quarterback. And let's take into account Lamar hasn't done anything. He's won one playoff game against Tennessee, was all injured. Otherwise, it's one and done. And it's a shame with that defense and those running attacks. Something's wrong in Baltimore because the running backs get injured. Boom, boom, boom. Like 3-4 running backs get injured in the first game. That's, but I heard their strength and conditioning coach sucks because they all said he sucks. So I don't know what I think Harbaugh's a terrible coach is my point. He blows a 17-0 lead to Buffalo. Really? So you get up 17-0 and then you can't score on them? And they didn't have a good defense, although they probably had Von Miller back then. You had to pick, would you take Bryce Tua, Jalen, or Mac Jones? I don't understand. If you had to pick, would you take, the draft? Oh, no. Bryce Tua, Jalen, or Mac Jones. I wouldn't take any of those losers. I don't know. I mean, these are what, Alabama quarterbacks? Well, I wouldn't take an Alabama quarterback. So the question's mute. I would take Burrow. Yes, I remember I lost 2 bets because of Ravens blowing those leads against Buffalo and Miami. See, you got to learn not to bet on Lamar Jackson. That's your mistake. You got to read who to bet on. Had you done a teaser in the Buffalo game like I did, you would have won. But I think I had Baltimore was the home dog, and I think I had +9, and I won the game. But yes, they blew the 17-0 lead, lost 20-17. So obviously you're not teasing, Bobby. That's your mistake. You need to tease more. I've got it all figured out, the teasers. So, yeah, in a teaser. But again, Lamar, when they know he's not going to run, he doesn't see, he can't. Let's say there's 5 minutes left in the game. How is he going to run out the clock? Joe Montana did it. Brady does 4 or 5 minute drives at the end of the game. Short pass, run. He knows where to run. You think Lamar Jackson changes a play because of the defense and goes, they're all stacked in the middle. I better run an outside play. No, that's why you see these idiots run right up the middle. You're at the 1 yard line. And instead of audibilizing, going, well, that ain't going to work. We got to run off right tackle or left tackle. What do? They hand it off. They go right up the middle, and they get stonewalled and lose 2 yards. And you're like, what kind of stupid play was that? There's 9 guys standing 3 feet from the ball, and you run right into that, and you think you're going to gain a yard? And at that point, they're selling out. That's the beauty of the Dave Casper play. If you were to fake that, there's nobody left for your tight end to just stroll in the end zone. Well, nobody within 20 yards of them. That's why I bitch about the play, because if they're going to put all these guys up there and you can't run up the middle, well, where's the weakness? The weakness is behind them because everybody's coming for the run. So if you play action, you fake the run, everybody pulls up, the tight end walks wide open, and that's what Dave Casper did for 5 years with Stabler at Oakland. I mean, it was a joke. Play action pass. But that's when I say things. That's why I say them. And the quarterbacks are too stupid to read the defense. See, that's quarterbacking. Oh, look at Tua. He throws a pretty spiral. Yeah, but he can't handle a blitz. He's not a runner. He's always hurt. And he doesn't read a defense. So what is so good about him? And this is the point nobody gets. They don't look at the quarterback for his intelligence and reading the defense and reading the blitz. They just say, oh, he threw a nice 20-yard pass. He's a good quarterback. What a great pass. He hit a wide open receiver. What the fuck does that matter? That doesn't mean anything. Pretty much you want to tease the NFL because the difference is they just wait a minute. Yeah, I remember okay. Yeah, he choked those fourth quarter leads, then gets to United halfway through the year, but yet wants a huge contract extension. Well, don't pay him. Again, what's the market? So if his price is too high, why would the owner pay him? This is where the whole thing, these owners are as stupid as the players because they sit there and they'll go, well, what's the market for this guy? And I'd say for Lamar, the market's $2 million. And if he doesn't like it, he can lump it. He doesn't finish the season. He can't read a blitz. Look at that one game they played against Miami a couple years ago. They shut him out. He couldn't even get a first down because they just blitzed like 9 guys every play. And he couldn't complete a pass. They didn't even get a first down. The whole game, I think they lost 20-0, and they got like 10 yards total offense. And all Miami did was blitz every single play and dare Lamar to beat him, to beat the blitz, and he couldn't do it. So you want to pay this guy $50 million? Good luck. And how many playoff games are you going to win? How many times, So, they beat the bad teams. Doesn't make them good. Did they beat Cincinnati last year? No. I don't even know if they beat Pittsburgh both times. In Cleveland, who knows what they're going to do with Deshaun Watson now? And I hate when the people get moral on you. Well, he did something with the girl or Ray Rice. What Ray Rice did in private is his own business. It's what he does on the field. And I thought it was terrible that nobody signed him because he certainly was a very good running back. And what he did with his wife is a private matter between him and his wife. All right, he did it in a hotel in Atlantic City, but what does that got to do with football and business? So I find that to be you're mixing political with that. Can the guy play? Yes, then sign him. Who gives a fuck? Well, you don't. Everybody does that. They just don't get reported on it. It's ridiculous. I think Watson will bounce back and have a good year next season. Well, maybe, but he's sat out 2 years and he's on Cleveland. So I don't know. It depends who their offensive coordinator is, the system, the receivers. Is he any good anymore? I mean, he was very good. But then you sit out 2 years. It's like you, Bobby. You haven't hit a baseball in 2 years. You're just going to walk back in and go hit 365 again? Probably not. But I think once your hand-eye coordination is good in baseball, it's probably good. It's where you lose is the reflexes and the muscle memory. And so I don't know if he's still the same quarterback. Although Joe Montana got hurt in the 1990 championship game, the Roger Craig fumble game, and he broke his wrist and his ribs from that Leonard Marshall hit. And he was out a few years. I think he was out 2 years. That's why they traded him. They didn't think he'd come back, but he looked good against Kansas City. So, yeah, in that sense, if he's Montana, and I'm not saying he is, then he should be able to come back. It's just getting used to Cleveland and understanding, who he's got. So we got to see the offensive coordinator and the receivers. But he could. We will see. Give us another guy to bet on, Bobby. Or do we bet against him? That's the real key. Do we bet on him or do we bet against him? And that's what you're looking for with all these quarterbacks. Who's going to make us money? And if they're not going to make us money, we bet against them. That's it. He's okay. He's had good games, but again, we'll see. He sat out 2 years. He didn't look good last year at all. So we'll see what he looks like this year. And then he was good. I thought he was good before. Now it's part 2. Now, Vince Young, I never liked because he was Lamar. He would run. I remember that Rose Bowl. He would run, but he couldn't really pass that good. See, again, this is another example of the guy who's a good athlete who prefers running over passing. And look what happens. They never do anything. That's this Richardson guy. If you draft Richardson, you're drafting Vince Young. And we see what Vince Young did. So Richardson will be a total. We'll bet heavily against Richardson if first of all, who's going to waste the pick by drafting him? And then once you draft him, you going to play him? A guy like him should be a wide receiver or tight end. Lamar should be a wide receiver or a running back, probably a wide receiver, because it gives him room to use his speed. But he is nowhere near a quarterback. So if I'm the GM of any team, let's take San Francisco, I'm signing the guy as a wide receiver. I am not signing him as my quarterback. I got Brock Purdy, who's 20 times better than Lamar Jackson as a quarterback. Hopefully his elbow heals already. But I am taking him. I'm taking Cam Rising over Lamar, and he hasn't even played yet. I'm taking Van Dyke over Lamar. That's the point. Those are the good quarterbacks to take over Lamar. So why pay him $50 million? Then you're fucked because you can't sign anybody else who's good because they're going to want $25 million. You can't sign backup defensive players because it's too much to pay one player because you have a salary cap. So you never want to sign a $50 million player. Never, ever, ever, ever. Yeah, well, he was better than Lamar because he was a good quarterback, but I don't know. Like now, we'll see. Crazy ESPN analyst guy saying Lamar should get paid more than Watson. Well, good luck with that. Watson runs but looks to throw first, and, Lamar is more of a run for. Well, Watson's more of a Mahomes type. I mean, Mahomes runs, but most of the time he's not, and he can hit Kelsey. What does Lamar do? See, that's the difference. Lamar can't really do that like Mahomes, right? And Mahomes can run but doesn't. Russell Wilson can run, but it's they're good throwers, but they could run. Where Lamar is a running back who's trying to throw, who can't read a defense or a blitz. And that's really the difference. So that's what you're really trying. See, what you've got to read in a quarterback is how they handle the blitz, which is why I don't like Josh Allen. He cannot handle the blitz. Period. He doesn't know how to read it or what to do. And when they blitz him, what does he do? He takes the sack or he throws the interception. He doesn't know how to read it. And that's when I talk about a quarterback, and I remember somebody came into the class and was touting Trevor Lawrence after he beat San Diego. And now do you think he's a good quarterback? And I said, no, he still sucks because he still can't read a blitz. And he threw 4 interceptions in the game when they blitzed him. Had San Diego continued that defense in the second half, they would have won the game 44-0. Had they kept playing the same game, but they switched the game, and that's why they lost. Watson runs but looks to throw. Yeah, Lamar's more of a run first. And Watson's still not on Mahomes' level. No, nobody's on Mahomes' level but Burrow. Mahomes is on his own planet. Well, him and Burrow. Believe me, Burrow's as good as Mahomes. He can run a little bit. Once he gets a little bit more talent, look for that. Look for Cincinnati to really it's going to be Cincinnati, KC in the championship the next 5 years. Unless Kelsey gets hurt or unless there's a key injury. But I'm really curious. I was hoping Boucher came out, but who is the wide receiver I really wanted to get? There's a guy on Tennessee, but I don't think he'll be around. The Texas Christian wide receiver would be fantastic in Cincinnati. Well, you better like Burrow. Burrow's the real thing. Burrow comes from behind and wins. He did it 2 years ago. Last year, he killed Buffalo, and then he should have – he got the roughing the passer that they didn't call when they roughed Burrow. And then the bullshit punt return that there was 2 clips on that they didn't call. So that game should have went to overtime, and it would have been a good one. Yeah, I'm a big LSU fan. At least I remember when they got screwed against Alabama. So they go to Alabama and they beat them like 9-6 because Alabama can't kick a field goal, or 6-0, or it's a very low scoring game. And I had LSU as the dog, and they win as the dog in Alabama. And here comes the championship game in this bullshit bowl thing, and they got to play Alabama again. And Alabama beats them. And excuse me, why is Alabama the national champ? LSU won at Alabama, so they'd already beaten the team. Who's next? And then you give them a rematch. And then for some reason, because Alabama beats them in the bowl game, they're the national champs when LSU went to Alabama to win. So that smelled to high heaven there. That's ridiculous. They'd already beaten Alabama. Give them Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan. Not Alabama again, because it didn't mean it. They'd already beat them at Alabama. So I really didn't like that. I like their TD band music when they score. It gets Bobby Boa. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of like Notre Dame and Michigan when they score. That's the beauty of college football. In the pros, they how do the pros now they have fucking bands? Unbelievable. And then this is how cheap the Lions are. They used to have high school cheerleaders, and the girls, of course, wouldn't get paid. And you got Dallas and Oakland and San Diego and all these teams with the hot cheerleaders. So here comes Detroit and says, okay, we'll have adult cheerleaders, but they have to pay us to cheerlead. What the fuck is that? This is Ford Motor Company saying our cheerleaders have to pay to be a cheerleader on the Lions. I'd have told them to fuck off if I was a cheerleader. First of all, they should be getting paid. Do you make the wide receivers pay to play? I mean, what kind of crap was that? I thought it was very unprofessional, but that's what Ford is, and that's what the Lions are. I remember talking to a VP at Ford in the hot tub and saying, do you realize that I won't buy your product because the Lions stink? And he looked at me and he's like, well, what does that have to do with it? I go, because it's the Lions. The Lions are run by Ford. It makes you guys look like idiots. And nobody wants to drive a loser's car, right? And I had him dead to right. And then the guy says, well, you're not you wouldn't be one of our target market customers. I says, I drive a car. I am a target market, but because the Lions always lose, I will never buy a Ford. Who wants to buy a loser's car? I mean, and he didn't understand that, or he wouldn't admit it. I don't know what it was, but I had him dead to rights, dead by the balls. This is the problem when you're a loser. Nobody wants to be associated with them. And all they do, here come the Lions, they'll do the same bullshit. They won't sign, like they let Slay go to Philadelphia and they let a few other players go. They'll never sign the second contract. So they start getting some good players and then they let them go. Golden Tate. Now they got this new receiver, whatever, guy from Notre Dame. I can't remember his name, McLeod or something. They won't sign him. He'll play the 2 or 3 years, and then the contract will come up, and they won't sign him because it'll cost money. That's why they never win. There's no consistency, and then it's hit or miss on the guys they actually pick. So in other words, now I got to draft somebody else, which is very hard to do. Well, once he's proven you've done the work, what the fuck are you doing? Why aren't you signing him? That's your guy. You did a good pick. Imagine the 70 Steelers and they're letting Joe Green go in 75 because we're not going to pay him. Oh, Jack Ham, no. Lambert, no. Donnie Shell, no. Mel Blount, no. Franco Harris, Swan, no, we can't pay him. They stayed together for 10 years, that team. They obviously paid him. You couldn't have that team now because they would be way over salary cap. And the one guy I would never have paid on the team would have been Bradshaw. Absolutely not a very good quarterback. Didn't understand the concepts. All he did was hand the ball off to Franco Harris the first few years after he was benched in 71, 72. So that's the problem with that. Anyway, so back at poker. So I had the guys guessing, was I going to check, raise them, or was I going to bet? And so when I checked, so what I established there was when I check, I might have a full house or a strong hand. Now there's one hand that really, my psychic abilities took over, but I didn't play it. I had ace-5 of spades. The flop came 3, 4, 9, 2 spades. It wasn't 3, 4 of spades. Let's say it was 4, 9 of spades. So I got, no, it wasn't that. There was the 4 of spades. That was it. I got 3 spades and I needed 2 for a straight. And again, it became money. I could feel that I was going to hit the 2, but I didn't play it. It was going around and had somebody made it 10, I would have called. So somebody gets around and the last guy raises 20. And I say to myself, I should call this. I think I'm going to get the flush. But I don't. I use logic instead of gut, and I don't see the 20. And then sure as shit, what hits? The 2 of spades hits the next card, which would have gave me the straight. And that's what won was ace 2, 3, 4, 5. But the last card was an 8 of spades, which would have given me the nut flush, and I would have won a huge pot, which I felt I was going to get the flush. That's why I played the ace 5, and I hit the straight with the 2 on the turn, and then I hit the flush. So I would have, that was the best hand, was the straight. So I couldn't lose, right? It was like all in. So I would have made $400 or $500 by catching the flush. And I knew I was going to I could feel it, but I didn't play it. The $20 bet. And this is where I'm not quite comfortable yet because I haven't played that much in a while. What do I do with the $20 bets? And I'm too much, $300, and that's it. But what's happening is the play is not, I assume people are losing their money and they need money and they're playing poker to try to win. So they got to win a bigger pot. So where before it might have been a $10 bet and I'd call it, is now a $20 bet. And I'm folding hands that I probably should be calling. I had such a feel, even though there was one spade on board on the flop. So I have 3 spades. I need 2 more, but it's ace 3, 4, 5. A 2 gives me a straight. But then I said, oh no, I had the ace 5. So 3 and 4 were on the board. So when the 2 hits, I now have ace 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4. So I'm, well, maybe 5, 6 is winning. And everybody's betting like all in, all in, all in. I'm like, well, somebody must have 5, 6. And to my thing, they were on like some sort of draw or 2 pair. And one guy had the ace 5, which I would have tied. But had it been $15 or even had it been $10 or $12, I would have called it, hit the 2. Then it's everything's all in, and I've got basically the best hand that I'm splitting, and then I hit the spade on the end for the flush, and I knew I was going to get it, but I didn't want to see the $20 because I'm playing 300 and I'm not getting a lot of cards and I'm not hitting a lot of flops. So I said, I probably won't hit it. And I fucking hit it. And I was a little pissed about that. One other hand, I have pocket 9s against the big guy stack so I have a pair of 9s. The flop comes 10, 3, 2. He comes out and bets, I don't know, $10. So I call. I got 9s. I'm figuring, well, does he have the 10s, or maybe he got pocket 6s or 7s or whatever? I don't know. I check. He bets. I call. The next hand is like a 6. Again, I check. He bets a little bit more. I call. I ask for the 9 of clubs, and on the river comes the 9 of clubs. I was like, I'm back. And I check, and he checks, and I go, "Where's the next bet?" Because then I was going to go over the top. I was going to make it look like a bluff. So I checked. If he would have bet 20, I would have then made it 100 because I knew I had 3 9s. I wasn't going to lose, and but he probably wouldn't have paid me anyway. So maybe I would have. Had I bet 20, I don't know if he even calls me. He's probably just playing the player, which is what I warn you about. He sees me check, so he's betting, right? After that hand, he never fucked with me again because I had checked a set of 9s on the river. And because I checked and had the set of 9s and didn't bet it, he was like, I got to be careful with this guy. That's how the professor plays poker. So once you start getting cards and you can fuck around like that, they don't know they can't read you anymore. They don't know what to do with you. And that's what you're really looking for. So that's where I exercise my muscle, where you're not revealing your cards. That's really how you play poker. However, if you have a pair of aces, you got to bet to protect because they'll never hold up. Look at me, I had 9s. I get the third 9 on the river. Well, that's what are you going to do with that? So that you don't even want me to get to the river. But his bet was 8, and I had 9, and I had a pair of 9s. I'm not going anywhere. And there was no ace or king on the board. He probably had an ace, so he's betting it, and then I'm calling, and then I check again, but I keep the question at poker is, why is he calling me? So he's sitting there betting and I'm calling. I'm not raising, but I'm calling. So if it was me, the question is, what's he calling me with? Why is he calling me? He must have something. So if he was bluffing or had an ace, and I'm calling him, was I maybe I'm on a straight draw or flush draw? So that's really the question. So anyway, I got him fucked up once they could see, oh my God, he's got a set and checking, and then he's got a full house and he's betting, and then they don't know what the hell is going on. Bobby, I would have been good if Professor won poker last night and went to Coin Store today. Yeah, but it's going. I sent it to Irina, the girl who's pregnant, who's due in 2 weeks. I told her I was going to send, and then I looked and I got my Social Security. It actually came on Monday, and looked today, and I was there, so I sent her like 150. Presser will be out for redemption next time at the casino. Well, I mean, I'm always there to win, and it's all up to the cards and the. If you're at a table, it's more aggressive. And see, the key is if I'm at a table that doesn't raise a lot, they bet $2, $5. You call and you see more cards. But when you get a more aggressive table that bets $20 and $30, you can't just call. You'll go out of money without, because you got to catch your hands. So you've got to get cards with you got to get cards to play at that table, right? So if I'm not getting kings, queens, jacks, aces, ace, king, if I'm not getting a good hand, I can't see the $20 bet. Plus the $20 bet is mostly at that table. They've got a good hand. They're not bluffing with the $20 bets. So if I don't have anything, I got to just keep folding and folding and folding. And then I can't hit the flush that I would have won 300-400 on, and that would have been it. I would have got up and left after. So that's really what you're looking for. But that's the problem. If you're getting 3-9 half the night, you're just folding. And then even if it comes 3-3-3 on the flop and you would have had 4 threes, you can't see it because it's $20 and you got to play the probabilities that, I'll catch 1 3. What do I do with a pair of threes? This guy's betting 20. So that's the difference. It's very hard in a, when you're not getting cards. If you're getting some cards, an ace, queen, an ace, king, aces, king, tens, jacks, if you're getting some of those cards, then you can play and hope you hit. Like I had king, queen, and I don't know, it might have been $10. I saw it, and the flop came queen, queen, king. Now I couldn't have saw it if I didn't get king, queen. If it was 2-5, I'm folding. But because I had king, queen, I could at least call, see the flop, and then I hit the flop. And that's the difference. So that's what you're trying to get. Normally the big bet comes on the turn. So if I have a big bet, if I have a good hand, I'm not waiting for the river. I'll bet like 50, 60, $100 on the turn. Like if I hit a flush, I'll bet it all on the turn. I won't wait for the river because a lot of people are idiots and they'll want to see the river card and hope that they catch the miracle, which I know the odds are very slim. You're going to catch the miracle. So I put it in. If you fold, fine. And if you stay in to try to catch it, fine. You probably want 1 in 100. You might catch it. So I'll take those odds. But basically, that's what you're looking for. So you got to catch. That's why I say you got to catch. So when I'm looking at 2-9 and 3 jack the whole night, I'm like, fuck. So when I finally got some cards, the pair of nines, the king, queen, the ace, 5 of spades, when I finally got cards, I could play. And otherwise, I'm folding. But they didn't, because the way I play, they didn't know if I was slow playing or I would bet if I got a hand. So the first couple of hands I bet because I got the hand, but it wasn't, I got aces, I bet 15. But then when I hit like the full house or the set of nines, I would check it. So that would really confuse him. Wait a minute, he bets 15 if now he's checking and he's got the hand. Well, what's he doing? We can't tell what he's doing. Because I like checking because they think you're weak and they're going to bet that because like the one guy was betting me. So he's playing me. So I'm sitting there with the nines. He's making a bet. I'm checking, bet, call. He's betting because I'm checking. So he's reading me as I don't have anything because I'm not showing him because the nines aren't strong enough to really bet. If they were aces, I would have been betting. But because they're nines, I'm not really betting. But all I see is 10-3-2 on the board. I'm going, well, the odds on him having a 10 are pretty slim. Let's see what happens. And then again, I check. So he bets because I checked. He's not betting his hand. He's betting me. But I'm making him look like I don't have anything when I really do. And then on the river, when I check, now he doesn't know what to do. I keep calling. So he assumes I've got a pair. He probably had an ace. So he figured I'm not betting. Then I show the trip nines. Now he's really fucked because I didn't bet the set of nines. And I don't think, had I bet $25, I doubt he calls. Maybe he does, but I doubt it. If he had the 10, he might call. But he didn't have the 10. So that was poker pretty much last night. It was so ABC. The thing you noticed the most, Bobby, it's monthly. So I got like $2,400 today. I'll get $2,400 the second Wednesday of what are we going into April? Now I got the unemployment, which has been, I'm waiting, it's pending. But I talked to a guy in the hot tub yesterday. He runs a snow business here. And I says, what do you know about unemployment? I see it's pending. He says, well, if they ignore it, you'll get it. Only if they dispute it. But both companies were not going to dispute it. And I just said it was personality. I was going to say I'm an IMFJ and they can't figure that out. They don't know what to do with me, which is really what now I understand what happens is they don't know how to deal with me because I'm pretty much more advanced. I'm at a different level than they are. And so they don't know what to do. And then, we'll let them go. Instead of realizing you got an INFJ, you let them go. No, it wasn't. I did see the communist there, but it wasn't him. No, this was a worker. And he says they'll either approve it or they'll just do nothing unless they dispute it, but this shouldn't be disputed. So both companies told me we're not going to dispute it. Now, they probably thought I was going to file in October. I don't mind filing now. It gave me time. I made a lot of football money. So it's kind of like a good dead period. I want to travel with Jenna. So I got not a strange text. She said she's been out of internet since Monday. And then she says, I'll wait to meet you. And I wasn't sure if she's coming to Detroit or in Spain. She says, just wait, wait till I can meet you or something. And I'm trying to figure out why, usually she'd run, but maybe something's going on that she'll meet, she'll say, okay, now we can meet in Spain. Now, at the poker room, I met this guy from the Ukraine. He's a biathlete, Bobby. He's the guy that cross-country skis for a couple miles, then gets down on his stomach and has to shoot those little discs while your heart rate's 200 miles an hour because you're cross-country skiing as fast as you can. Go try to shoot a rifle. He says most people would have a heart attack. He says, I got to condition my breathing so it's to lower so I can shoot. And he's from Ukraine. Now he's apparently living here because I see him at poker every time. And Ukrainian guy. And he showed me his arms. He broke his arm. That's why it was like kind of sticking up and a bad incident, I guess. And so I said, he loves Portugal. I said, what about Spain? He says, I would go to Madrid. And then he pulls out his phone. He says, look, I says, well, I want to go near the Mediterranean. We want to go sit on the beach like we did at Odessa. And so he says, so he shows me the train schedule. He says, you can take the bullet train, which will take an hour to go from Madrid to Barcelona, which Barcelona's on the sea. Madrid's in the middle of the country. It'll take you an hour. It's 20, and he shows me it's $25. So I assume that's round trip. So for $50, it's either take a taxi, rent a car, which I'm not going to be able to read Spanish, or just take the bullet train. So I can see us doing that a few days. Go in the morning, and then after breakfast, and then go there and lay on the beach, and then bullet train back for dinner, or eat it in Barcelona. So that was nice. So that was a nice guy because he's a Ukrainian. The Europeans are much nicer, and that was it. So I told Jenna, well, why don't we go to Madrid? It's in the middle, but they got the bullet trains, and it's in an hour be in Barcelona. And he told me it's really dangerous in Barcelona, but not in Madrid. Okay. I go to Vegas. It's really dangerous, pickpockets and stuff. So, so she had a strange. So that's why I was surprised with her comment. Let me know when I'll tell you when we can meet or something. Which I would have thought she's waiting to meet. It was up to me, and now she's like saying, "Well, wait. I'll let you know when I can meet or something." I can read it. What did she say? Feeling like getting some ribs tonight. I need to see which barbecue spot I can get it from around here. That's the thing. It's so different in Michigan than it is like in Alabama. It sucked. Alabama's barbecue places are pathetic. So let me read. So let me read you Jenna's. What did she say? She says, "I still don't know when I can fly to you. Give me time, please." So I don't know what she's waiting for. Is it the war? Are they not allowing it? That's what I couldn't. Here's her birthday wish to me. I won't read it all, but and of course, very much money and gold and silver. That's funny. So it's if you got girlfriends or wives, it's International Women's Day today, especially European ones. Make sure you say Happy Women's Day. It's always the day after my birthday. So my girls in Romania and Russia, Ukraine, even some here, I'm wishing them a Happy Women's Day. The ones in Europe understand it, and they love that you do that. Usually you get them like flowers. The ones here don't understand it. I remember I had a German boss at Mercedes. I said, "Well, happy Women's Day today." And she, "Well, we don't celebrate it here." And I go, "Well, in Germany they do." So, it's a German company. She liked it, but she was a little bit like shy about it. Andy, baseball pitchers suck today. You're right. Greg Maddox would pitch a perfect game in less than 2 hours. Exactly. Well, that's the thing, Andy. What they're trying to do, we can bring it back to economics, right? How many good watches are there? Rolex, Boulevard, da 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 da, and they're at different markets. These baseball teams are trying to have 7, 8 starters and 15 in the bullpen because they can't. They got to go every 5th day, so that means you need 5 pitchers. And then you need a bullpen of 6th inning, 7th inning, 8th inning, 9th inning, which is fucking ridiculous. So you have 4, but they can't pitch every day. They can't pitch Monday. They can't pitch Tuesday. So now we need the Tuesday 4 pitchers. So that's 8 and 5 is 13 of your players are pitchers. Well, there's not 13 good pitchers out there. There's not 13 good Rolexes, right? There's Rolex, Boulevard, whatever James Bond wears, and that's it. There aren't 13 good watches you can have. So that's exactly what I'm saying, Andy, and that's exactly what you're saying. They're trying to do something and just produce pitchers that don't exist. How many good pitchers are there? I mean, Bob Gibson and Koufax. Okay, you didn't have 20 of them. You had a few. That's it. The Tigers won in '84. They had two good pitchers. They had Morris and Petrie, and then a couple of knuckleheads, and they had one guy in the bullpen. And that's what killed the Tigers. What, in 2006? In 2014, 15, whenever they got back there, and they had the worst manager in the history of baseball. They had Verlander, Price, and Scherzer, all pitching shutouts, and the idiot manager going to the bullpen because they can't pitch more than 100 pitches. So they get to like the eighth inning with no hitters going and shutting out Boston and that. And they take the pitcher out, and the reliever comes in, gives up a couple of home runs. They lose, but he does it every game. So he loses the series because he goes to the reliever every game. What is wrong with this guy? How do you go back to the same, go to a different reliever, but why are you pulling your pitchers? You're keeping them there because this is why you have them and you're resting them. They're pitching 9 innings, 300 pitches in the playoffs. This is not 100 pitches in the playoffs. The playoffs are a whole different than the regular season, but he's still treating it the same. So he cost Detroit, I think, 2 World Series with that starting. Scherzer ends up going to Washington anyway. So what are you saving him for? And then Price went to Boston, and then Verlander goes to Houston. So you've rested their arms for the other teams. That's why you pitch the shit out of them, because they're not going to stay. And when you're in the World Series or the playoffs and you finally have that opportunity, you don't fuck around. And Bobby, you can detest this, and I know it's a fact. When you got Verlander you're going against, you do not want to see him. And when they go to the bullpen, you're smiling, going, "Oh, I can hit anybody else but Verlander. They took him out. What a mistake." Right, Bobby? You get psyched out by that one pitcher. Even you, Bobby, even Barry, you would get psyched out. And when he left, you'd be like, "Thank you, God." So are you going to bet baseball this? Yeah, sure, a little bit. Again, trying to figure it out, but it's all pitching. Bobby, is that for a trip to Spain you two are going to? Yeah, I think so. I've invited her here, but she won't leave her family. Again, she got the son in Poland, the son in the Ukraine, her sister's in the Ukraine. So the war is going on, so she feels like she can't leave to stay with me. And so she said, I can come for a month. So that's why we keep meeting for vacations. She can get away for the week or two. So something must be going on that she's not telling me, which is unusual. Normally, like if I pry, so she says, just wait. She'll fix it, and then we'll probably go. If we don't go March, we'll go beginning of April. And if I'm getting the unemployment and the Social Security, I'm making $4,000 a month for doing nothing. Yeah, I can do that. Plus the gold and silver going up. Andy, I remember Jack Morris pitched 10 innings in Game 7. Damn right, and he won for Minnesota. That's the difference. And now they're such babies. This is all the socialism. Oh, we got to be fair. Oh, he might get injured. That's all the socialist bullshit that's entering sports. Like the football. We watched football because we wanted to see Dick Butkus kill somebody, right? That's why we watched. It was exciting and the big hits. And now you've taken all the big hits out. If you hit the guy, I mean, look at the Mahomes hit. There would never have been a personal foul when he dove. None of this shit should be personal fouls. The holding and the interference, okay, but they would let him play. Look at the Drew Pearson play when on the Hail Mary, he pushes off on the Minnesota guy. There's no offensive pass interference. Now there would be. Now they would call the bullshit. He pushed off, and he did. If you watch, his left arm pushes the guy. That's why the guy stumbles, and he turns around wide open and gets the touchdown because he pushed off. But they didn't call it in the 70s, which they call now. But that's what we liked. And now you're taking all that shit away, and it's a whole different game. It's like Vegas is changing. We don't like it. It's like football is changing. We don't like baseball. What is with this runner at second and extra innings? What the fuck is that? You got to get on. You got to hit to get on or walk to get on. And if you want to walk and steal second or get a double to get to second, that's how you get to second. Not, well, we're going to start with the guy at second because it's the 10th inning. What's the big deal about the time? This is not a time sport. This is an inning sport. If it's a good game, you don't care if it goes 12 innings. You're not in a hurry. If it's a good game, you're not in a hurry to get it over with. You enjoy the kind of poetry and the ballet of, look how good the hitting is. Look at the good pitching. Look at Verlander. Can you imagine that slider? That's why you're watching in the first place. It's not a time thing. So why are you trying to hurry up a non-time thing? It's going to be a disaster. Well, now there's a pitch count. There's even a hitting count. Could you imagine, Bobby? You have 8 seconds to get in the box and be ready to hit. What the fuck is that all about? Oh, that's really your problem, not the 20 minutes of commercials between innings? I mean, oh my God. Bobby, so you are going to bed? Yeah, probably. Yeah, I agree, Professor. They take out pitchers way too early these days. Jenna is in Ukraine or Russia. She's the Ukrainian one. She's the one that wears the Ukraine white T-shirt, like when we were in Portugal. Now, the Ukrainian guy yesterday said he liked Lisbon a lot better than Spain, but I don't know. We just were there, and I don't mind seeing Spain. I mean, if I can, I will rob the gold from the gold mint like Money Heist did. Now I know how to do it. It should be a piece of cake. When the water fills up, I'll just wear my my diving suit. So anyway, so I don't mind going. She wants to go to Spain. That's fine. I mean, it's a vacation, so we'll go. I'm still looking for a place to move to because I don't know if I want to be here. I was watching a lot of these judiciary things where they were getting at Powell for the inflation. They're getting at the FBI director and they were getting after the attorney general, and they were just drilling these guys. What the fuck are you doing with Hunter Biden? Why aren't you prosecuting him? They say this to the attorney general, and it's such a wimp, this guy. You're like, no wonder we have the problems we have. These guys aren't. And they kept saying, you can't do it politically. Like if a guy's a liberal, you're letting him off the hook. But if it's a conservative, if it's a Trump guy, then you're going after him. You've got to go after the law, not because of that. Why aren't you going after Biden, both Joe and the kid? And it was like refreshing to see that the Congress actually knows what's happening and is actually trying to do something. Now, let's go over some Austrian economics here. This guy Kennedy is going after Powell. So Powell's in it's the Senate Banking Committee or whatever, right? So they're getting after Powell. What the fuck are you doing with all these interest rates? And he's answering the question. He's not taking the fifth like half these guys. But again, this is a banking committee, so maybe he can't. Maybe he has to explain it. And Kennedy goes, look, I know you guys are all Keynesians. I was like so proud of somebody understanding what a Keynesian is, but he never brought up Austrian. So he basically just said, I know most of you guys are Keynesians. And in the Keynesian book, it says you print money, but you're not reading the second sentence, which says, but you pay the money back. And so he brings that up. And Powell's like, yeah, we're looking for the prices to come down. So Powell doesn't get it either. He thinks inflation's prices. It's the money supply, right? You're devaluing the money. Powell doesn't get it. This Kennedy guy, who was actually Republican, doesn't get that, So what you're doing is you're raising interest rates, and all they were worried about is you're going to cause unemployment, which is, of course they will. That's the entry level masters of raising the cost on money or raising inflation. Is you're going to cause unemployment. As things cost more, people can't afford them. People aren't going to buy. So the people who work for those companies will get laid off, which is going to add to the unemployment. Because you're going to lay off people you're not hiring. I think that's what I'm going through now. I apply all over the place for senior financial analysts, finance managers, Austrian economist. I don't see a lot of those jobs. That's another big problem. And so, but nobody's hiring. And I think that's what's happening. That's why I'm like, fuck it. I'm getting Social Security. I'm getting my unemployment. I never dreamed of getting Social Security. First of all, I thought it was broke and I wouldn't get it. And secondly, it's like, I don't need it. It's really a bridge until gold and silver do their thing, which of course is coming. But of course, they won't comment on that because they're Keynesians. They won't comment on the gold and silver. But it was good to see, like, so you're just going to keep raising interest rates. You're going to put a lot. So the congressman's problem is you're going to put a lot of people out of work. And he was like, because you're just going to keep raising interest rates until prices come down. But prices aren't going to, that's not what makes prices come down. They don't get it. I mean, excuse me. The market has nothing to do with inflation. The market is the market. I'll pay $25 for the ribs. He sells them for $40. I'm not going to buy them. That's the market. So if you lower the prices, it has nothing to do with interest rates or the economy. It's all about the market saying, I'll spend $25 on ribs. You're charging $40. I'm not going to buy them. But if you put your price at $25, I will buy them. It doesn't matter what you're doing with the interest rates or inflation or anything. The market's the market's the market. Now, if you take all my money, I can't afford to eat the ribs for $25 anyway. Well, that's a whole different animal. But for what he's talking about, if you raise interest rates, you're going to slow the economy, will cause unemployment. It has nothing to do with inflation. Nothing. Again, inflation's printing the money. You stop printing the money. You they call it let the genie out of the bottle, which basically means there's nothing, once you print, you can't, what are you going to do? Burn the money? And so what are you going to do with digital, right? So let's say you do this with digital dollars, right? And you print and print and print, and there's $10 trillion. You're fucked. Now, how are you going to get the money back? It's gone. As you print it, whatever you've done digitally to do it, digital cannot work. And a lot of what they do is they try to scare us. The digital, the AI, all this Musk thing. I don't like him. And as I said yesterday, a lot of the Twitter stuff, the Twitter guys were just, I don't know. You're on the stand in front of Congress. I don't know. So the whole government thing, you can just see the problems with it. It's like the Lions football team, right? You got Lamar Jackson as Joe Biden. Nobody trusts him. Nobody wants him. But I saw that. So that made me feel good that they understand that they are Keynesians. They don't understand Keynesians doesn't work. They don't try to go on gold and silver. If I was Powell and I'm responsible for the money of the country, guess where we are? We're on the gold standard, right? That's it. And gold's 50,000 an ounce. And we're on the gold standard. That's the only way to come back to a solvent country, solvent economy. People don't get laid off if you go to the gold standard. But I can't be corrupt and I can't rob and I can't print. So I don't want the gold standard because I'm evil. I'm JP Morgan. I'm Joe Biden. I'm all these Powells and all these idiots and the BlackRock guy. And I saw BlackRock was like going bankrupt. So I was all excited. And they're laying off people. I think what it is it's in the mortgage areas because nobody's buying a house now. So why do housing prices go down? Well, they go down because, we do anything, Bobby. Just I can get into it whenever, just ask. But it's just funny how we went from baseball to economics in the same sentence. But you can see economics in life, it's all over. It's with women. It's with sports. How many people you demand 10 pitchers? Is there a supply of 10 pitchers? So if you're on the gold standard, you can't print, but then all the illegal guys can't steal from us and print money. If you're on the gold standard, there's no interest rates, there's no inflation. You can't fuck with gold. You can't print it. It can just come out of the ground. You can find a gold mine and print, but it's such a small amount. So if they get, a new 1,000,000 ounces, fucking Russia and China eat that up in 5 days. Remember, 1 ton is 32,000 ounces. So so if you want to buy 5 tons, which is nothing for these banks and governments, I mean, 30, let's call it 30, 69, that 150,000 ounces is 5 tons. Well, about 160. Well, that's probably what they're going to pull out of the ground. That's 160, but you've got all these banks buying all this gold because it's cheap. So it's one of two things. JP Morgan's keeping the price down with the derivatives, either so people can buy it cheap or so his monopoly in dollars can stay low, because he'll say, look, you don't want to buy, like the guy, like my restaurant guy who's sitting there going, he owns it, and he's like, well, why, I want to buy silver, but it hasn't moved in 20 years. So again, not understanding why it hasn't moved, JP Morgan, and not understanding that JP Morgan he's got, for you, Bobby, he's got like $1 billion worth of silver. And so does Buffet. So those who aren't buying gold for some reason, but own a lot of silver. Again, well, why would they own silver if it's not any good? So you're in good company there, Bobby. The silver crowd. But that's the whole point. So it's going to take off. So it has to. Too many people want it. So you're a country, Bobby, and you've got all this. You got 40,000 tons of gold. You don't need any more gold. You need the price to go from 2,000 to 25,000. That's what you need, right? You don't need what's another, 1,000 ounces of gold? You got 40,000 tons. We can't even do the math. 40,000 times 32,000 ounces. Well, he's got the big bars. He's got the gold finger bars, right? He's got these big bars, and they put them in a vault. So that's where you're at with that. But outside of that, they're ready for the price to go up. They got problems with their economy. Russia's got to pay for a war. Now, as far as that, the whole EU and the whole NATO is pissed with the U.S. They all want to leave it and join BRICS. Well, my guess is they'll join BRICS because they got to go somewhere, or they all become independents. But I don't think that the whole idea was, well, we'll all gang up on anybody. We'll be 50 countries. We'll be NATO. But Russia can't be in it, and Germany really can't. You can't. You can only be in it a little because you keep creating these World War I and World War II and Hitler's. So you can't play either, Germany. So they kept Germany and Russia out of it, and that's what NATO was. But now all the European countries are going, fuck, the U.S. is putting sanctions on Russia, and guess what? We don't have any oil. We don't have any. We can't heat. We can't use electricity. We don't have anything because we're idiots. We relied on a monopoly. We relied on Russia to supply us the energy. The U.S. comes in, bullies them, says, okay, no more Russia. We're sanctioning them. Now you got to buy our oil. Now we're the monopoly. So it smells like JP Morgan's behind this too. And so basically what's happening is they want oil and natural gas. They got to buy from the U.S., not Russia. And Euro, and they're charging them 5 times what Russia's charging them. So Euro's getting pissed off, going, "Wait a minute, our energy is too expensive. People can't, they can't heat their house, and if they do, they can't eat. I mean, they're getting like Alistair McLean says, it's like $6,000 to heat his house. Who the fuck is? It was probably $600, and now it's $6,000. I can't eat because all my money goes to the heating. But why is that? Because you're sanctioning Russia. Well, you're really sanctioning Russia so they buy the U.S. oil and natural gas. That's the sanction. That's the underlying. It's all about money. So the NATO's had it. Like, fuck you. We don't want to be in business with you. And now they're starting to not sanction Russia to get competition for the oil and natural gas. It all comes back to Austrian economics. It all comes back to substitute and competition. That's the whole world, right? Substitute, you compete with Russia, with US, then you make them a monopoly. Now I can't substitute out of it. But if I bring Russia back, now I got competition, the price lowers, and now I can choose who I want, which will force the US price down. So the US took advantage and shouldn't have. Basically, they're really fucking us. I mean, we're so fucked, the US. I mean, they're just killing us every way but Sunday because you have morons in leadership and government. Why is Joe Biden the president? He didn't even get elected in. It wasn't even a real election. They just printed off votes. Dead people were voting. You had truckloads of ballots going from New York to Arizona, so he would win in Arizona with dead people voting. I mean, this is just ridiculous that this is how it's voting. Why isn't it just on the internet? You type in your social security number or some PIN. Okay, Bobby Bo, 420. I vote for whoever, professor. I vote for. What the fuck? Why aren't we doing that in a safe way? And it's just all ridiculous. It really is. It's just, I don't get. No, well, instead we'll have paper ballots where people from the outside we'll figure out how many we need. We'll make up phony ones and we'll put them in. And I'm sure that's what happened. And now look what happens, right? Trump's not in office. You got some idiot communist who wants to, all he cares about is money and gets paid off from China and runs the country into the ground because it benefits China and they're running the U.S. How the fuck is China running the U.S. in the first place? How did that happen? Yet nobody will ask that question but me. I'm the only one with brains and balls around here. So something doesn't smell. That's another INJF trait. We dig into things. And I've been noticing, I'll be at the poker table and I'll be making all these calls and plays. And I talk a lot, but not because I'm nervous or anything like that. I can see what's going on. So I can see what most people can't. So I can see, like one guy kept betting $20 when he had it, and then he'd fold. And I kind of go to the guy next. Oh, he's playing ABC poker. When he gets a hand, he bets 20. When he doesn't have a hand, he folds. So if he bets 20, get the fuck out of the way. I mean, it was so obvious to me what was going on, but not to everybody else. And that's why I talk more, because I can see more. So I want to say, hey, look what's happening over here. And not just in poker, but, in the hot tub or at work, or I watch the gold and I go, oh yeah, Alistair McClellan, look what I discovered. But if most people watch that video, they wouldn't get it, Bobby. They would just sit there and they would not understand what Alistair McLean just said. Or they'll go listen. That one lady I met at the gold store 2 years ago, who I just met with her daughter, says, I listened to the Lynette Zhang, and I just rolled my eyes going, why? All people you could pick, and I gave her Alistair McLean. She listens to the Lynette Zhang, and I'm like, I listened to her before. I don't like her. I think she's just another American idiot that, she is, I don't know if they're really Austrians, but they're gold people, let's say. So again, this is who you pick, is Lynette Zhang. I mean, I don't even watch hers. So anyway, that's the problem. How did we get there? But that's what I kind of notice, is I can dig into something like, clearly there was a fixed election. Clearly they're printing votes. I mean, I hear it And I believe what I'm hearing from some people that says, oh, they figured out they needed 200,000 votes to win in Pennsylvania, and somehow 210,000 at 4 in the morning came in. Well, people aren't voting at 4 in the morning. So the vote should be counted as, there should be a scoreboard like baseball, and it should just be one vote Trump, one vote Bush, one vote Trump. No, now he's got two. And here's the score at halftime. It's 600,000 to 400,000. I mean, why isn't it just an electronic score? Once you vote, why doesn't it register? Why do we need people counting it? Then you're leading to corruption. Even if you do an electric scoreboard, you're still leading to corruption because the Russians or whoever can program it to double count this or that, which is what they did to the machines. So even these machines were programmed to not count properly. So I don't know the way to do it, but this is what you get. Some 80-year-old idiot doesn't know what day it is, fucking us over for money, or the Chinese are blackmailing them or threatening to kill them. I don't know what it is. You watch so many of these movies, but that's clearly what's happening here. Why are we killing ourselves? That's the sad part. That's what they're not asking. So they'll go after the Warren Powells or the attorney general. Just fucking fire the guy. Just no. When you ask a question, Bobby asked me questions, Andy asked me questions, Nick, they ask me questions, I give them an answer. And if I don't know it, I'll just say I don't know it. I never say thank you for the question, Bobby, or I never give them some horseshit answer. I either know it or I don't, and that's how I answer it. But I give him the courtesy of answering the questions. Jenna is in Ukraine or Russia. She's in Ukraine. I didn't say, well, thank you for the question, Bobby. I really appreciate it. But, I can't answer on the grounds that it's an open investigation. What do you mean you can't answer it? Fucking answer it. I'm asking you the question. That's not, that's a bullshit answer. So these people that do that should be thrown in jail. Don't let them do it. Problem is, I don't know that there's a repercussion when they answer like that. I don't remember. Bobby, Jenna is in the Ukraine or Russia. I don't remember, Bobby. I mean, does that not sound like the stupidest thing you could ever hear of? So this is what I got. But if I got thrown in jail for that answer, I might remember I might remember the answer. But that's what I don't see is the repercussions. What happens when these guys don't answer the prosecutors? Are they going to jail or what? Anyway, so the whole government doesn't understand gold standard. And unfortunately, nobody does because it's controlled. So it sounds like every country's government is controlled by the George Soros, JP Morgan types. And they don't want them on gold, so they're not on gold. Every fucking country's in fiat currency, printing it to inflation. Now, a lot of the inflation is caused by gold. So because the gold price is just held down by JP Morgan, so as we said, part of it's held down so the bankers can buy more. Part of it's held down so people like us go, oh, I'm not going to invest in gold because it's not going anywhere. I guarantee you the banks who are buying it know when it's going to go up, and they're buying it now. So once you see that buying stop, here goes the price. So it's coming soon. But so he's doing it for two reasons. So that's why you have mass inflation, because they're printing their useless dollars for the gold, because they all know the gold's going to go up. It's way too low. That's what I'm saying. It's at least 20,000. I'm figuring 50. But it'll jump to 20 to 30 to 40 to 50, and it could go to 100. So that's what happens. So every country's printing to buy gold. Even Zimbabwe with hyperinflation. Well, guess what? It's because they wanted gold, and they're selling gold to their citizens at the 18 and whatever the spot is. That's what you're buying it at. And now they're coming out and saying, well, we're just selling ounces. You know what? Now we need to sell dimes and quarters and half ounces. because they can't always afford it, and we need lower values. So the marketplace can how do they make change for an ounce? And then I was reading today, one country is running out of dollars, which makes no fucking sense. Which country was that? I noticed gas went up a little bit. Remember, it's International Women's Day. Now here's a story. Highly anticipated 2023 Proof American Silver Eagle is released. One of the most anticipated U.S. mint coin. Why is it anticipated? It's a fucking ounce of silver. Why are you buying it as a collectible? Oh, you got to be a snowstorm likely for Western Michigan this Friday. Another snowstorm. We're going to lose more fucking power and more internet every fucking weekend now. And I believe Russia's controlling the weather. Federal Reserve likely increasing interest rates again because they want to kill the economy. So they're going to keep raising it till they kill the economy. It's got nothing to do with inflation. Now here's a strange one. Gold drops 1.9 and palladium logs over 3.5-year low. Precious metals plunge. Should we look at the reason that's bullshit? Gold drops one. This is yesterday. And palladium logs over 3.5-year low. Precious metal plunged on Tuesday, registering settlement lows ranging from over a week for gold and platinum to more than 3.5 years for palladium. Gold for delivery lost 34 to settle on the COMEX, which is fantasy, the division of the New York Mercantile Exchange. The settlement was low. While the shock of inflation and war in Europe now long faded as a reason to buy gold, the precious metal currently lacks an urgent driver to flip investor sentiment positive in the face of further Fed hikes to come. Adrian Ash, director of research at Bullion Vault, told MarketWatch. What a fucking loser that guy is. So the war is still going on. Inflation is much higher than they're giving it. What the fuck is he talking about? See, this is a Keynesian. You can tell by with the shock of inflation and war in Europe now long faded. Really? There's still a war going on and that. So there's no reason to buy gold. Even though you're inflating the dollars to zero, there's no reason to buy gold, but every central bank's buying it? Really? See, so it goes down because of the COMEX derivatives selling it, which they're not real, but yet then they make up this story of, well, the wars, that's been on for a year, so that doesn't count. It's been on for a year. Hello. And then the inflation, shock of inflation. Well, it's been inflation for 2 years. Guess what? It's still inflation. It isn't going anywhere. You printed all the dollars. It isn't going anywhere. The fact the prices are dropping because the market won't pay the extra prices has got nothing to do with the inflation. It's not going anywhere. It's still very high. So Adrian Ash, director at Bullion Vault. So we don't want anything to do with Bullion Vault. I've never heard of this Adrian Ash guy. And again, further Fed hikes to come. So, we're going to strengthen the dollar by wrecking the economy. You make no sense. So this is a guy you don't want to listen to, right? He's anti-gold. We don't want to listen to him. People they'll read the article and not understand this guy's full of shit. But this is where they come up with I love how they come up with the reason. Like they know the reason, right? The reason is because of derivatives, JP Morgan keeping the price low so they can buy more. That's the reason, but they won't say that. U.S. mint bullion sales in 2023. The 1 ounce American Eagle last week, 32,005. January sales 118,000. February 41.5. The quarter ounce last week 7,000. January 37 and 8,000. This is the quarter. So these are all gold. The tenth of that was the half ounce. The quarter ounce, it says 25 on it, but it's the half ounce. The quarter ounce, 10,000, 62,000 in January and 12,000 in February, but I'm sure they're still counting February. The Buffalo, 59,000 and 19.5 in February. And the $1 American Eagle 1 ounce silver coin, they sold 3.9 million in January, but there's no demand for them. 450,000 is last week, and 900,000 is the month of February, which, keep in mind, was shortened, and you had holidays, so it's 28 days. You had President's Day, and then they're showing last week, which is early March, I guess. And then how official are these numbers? So anyway, so that's what I see there. Bunch of shit. You can't explain why it dropped. Like, this is the reason. Did Green Bay get Derek Carr? Green Bay wins huge in Derek Carr deal. I thought Derek Carr was going somewhere else, to the New Orleans or something. Here's a scary one. Local YouTube star sentenced to 5.5 years, ordered to forfeit $30 million in large-scale cable piracy case. He amassed a $30 million fortune selling access to streaming cable TV. See, they'll arrest this guy, but not Hunter Biden, not Joe Biden, not all the politicians, not J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan literally is Madoff, literally does the scam, literally keeps the gold price. This little guy with 30 million is sentenced to 5.5 years in jail, and J.P. Morgan gets a penalty, and that's it, which is unfucking believable. Let's see, there was something I wanted. So Sun Country was running out of dollars. They needed to keep a certain amount of U.S. dollars in their inventory, and we're close to it. Stocks tumble on fears about faster rate hikes. Dow down 570. This was yesterday. So what the fuck? Why wasn't, let's see, the Dow today. The Dow's down 200 points as Wall Street weighs the likelihood of higher interest rates. So the fact we've had higher interest rates, they're totally, I love how they ignore it. Well, yeah, he raised well, that's going to slow the economy, morons. Every time he does a rate hike of a half point or so, takes 6 months for the market to react to it. That's what happens when Powell raises rates. You don't see it immediately. It takes 6 months. Bobby, Aaron Rodgers met with the Jets yesterday. Oh, thank you for the comment, Bobby. I don't want to be too political. Well, it's for Western Michigan, but we'll see. I mean, that's why I did it on the phone. But again, we had an ice storm. We had a snowstorm, 10 inches on Friday last week. And now here comes another snowstorm. What is it? Every fucking weekend, Putin is fucking with the weather. And believe me, I don't put it past that these idiots are fucking with the weather. So every weekend snowstorm. And I lose my cable. It's funny, I don't lose my power, but I lose my cable, and it takes 3 days to come back. So obviously it's connected to something where they're losing power, so they can't put out the signal Once power is restored, then the internet comes on. That's ridiculous. I could ask the simple question: why don't you fucking bury your cable lines instead of leaving them on poles 30 feet in the air when a wind can blow them out? Why don't you bury them where they're fine? Nothing can happen. Well, they're too expensive. Well, no, they piggyback the telephone lines, which nobody cares about because you don't use the telephone anymore. You use this, and this has its own cell tower. So funny how the cell tower is fine. So why aren't we using the cell tower for the internet at home? This is the part I don't understand. Why do I got to pay internet on my phone and internet in my house? Why can't my house use the same internet my phone uses, which, by the way, never goes out? Even in Europe, I never lose internet. I might need to go into the hotel or the restaurant to get their internet and get their password, but I can always use it, right? I go into a restaurant. What's your internet? Bobby Bo, da 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 da. The password, 420, and there's my internet. I can read my email. I can go on sites and everything. So I don't get why I can use my internet in Portugal, but I lose it in my home in Michigan. What the fuck is that all about? It's such a stupid system we have here. One of many. So that was what the article I was looking for was, the article on this country that's running out. Oh, wait, I think I saved it. Yes, I was a good boy. Here it is. Why is Kenya running out of US dollars? So this is the article. Why is Kenya running out of US dollars? The central bank has been using its US dollar reserves to try to cushion the shilling from further nosedives that has created a dollar scarcity. In other words, you have massive inflation in Kenya, just like you have in Nigeria and Zimbabwe. Kenya is facing an acute foreign exchange crunch, with US dollar reserves dropping to their lowest in 8 years as its currency keeps plummeting against major global currencies. The currency is losing value. It's called inflation. This is what's happening to all: the euro, the yen, the yuan, the ruble, and the U-fucking-S dollar. They're all plummeting. But because they're looking at it versus the US, we don't notice it. But that's what's happening. According to the Central Bank of Kenya, the plunge of the Kenyan shilling has been so substantial that it has even breached the regional reserves policy. The East African Community Forex Reserves Policy specifies that a member country must have in its coffers at least 4 months worth of Forex reserves in terms of imports cover at any given time. Kenya's reserves have been below the required levels since January 26th. In the weekly bulletin, Kenya revealed that the country's current usable foreign exchange reserves remain at 6.6 billion, down from 6.9 billion reported at the same time. This translates to 3.69 months. So low shilling value. This I can't say, and this is exactly what inflation is. Low shilling value is raising the cost of everything in Kenya. That's what inflation is, but they won't name it inflation. But as you can see, it's real, and it's fucking up Kenya, Nigeria, Turkey, all the big players. So, they're blaming COVID-19, okay, which stifled the country's key exports, thereby cutting its inflows. So they couldn't sell. On export, you sell, right? You're sending it overseas. Somebody's buying it. You're making money. The drought, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which triggered a hike in fuel prices and rising inflation. So they call inflation They're calling inflation, and this is perfectly inflation. But then when you get down here, what are they in the same article? Experts online hasn't quite recovered from the global economic crisis sparked by the COVID-19 pandemic, which stifled the country's key exports. These were heightened by other issues thereafter, such as continued drought, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, which triggered a hike in fuel prices and rising inflation. The hike in fuel prices is not the inflation. So they tell you, but they name that the value of the dollar is dropping, raising prices, which is the definition for inflation, but they won't call it inflation. And then later in the same article, they'll go, oh yeah, but by the way, the higher fuel prices caused the prices to go up, and we're going to call that inflation. No, you nailed it with the falling dollar. Here's an interesting topic: the rise of the U.S. dollar black market. The demand for dollars is highest among importers. This is amid the U.S. currency's hiked exchange rates and the rise of a black market for the currency. Interesting. While CBK rate is currently 127.80, the black market rate is as high as 139. So it takes you 139. What is this? What country am I in? Kenya. So it takes 139 Kenya to buy $1. Swiss, it's like even money. The euro's like 80 cents or 95 cents. When I send money to Romania, it's 4-1. When I send money to Ukraine, it's 35-1. Russia's 70-1. This is 290. Anytime it goes up like that, that's the inflation. It just shows you the value of the dollars dropped so much. I bought dollars at shilling 137 today. Sam Sigmar of Nairobi, the money heist based importer, told Quartz, with this trend, I won't be surprised if the black market price is 160 by the end of the year. The number of Forex bureau companies in Kenya shot up from 68 in 2021 to 119 currently. 119 Forex bureau companies. So you can see the inflation. That's exactly what the inflation is. They are losing value of the dollar. What else could it be? Why are you losing? Because you're printing. And this is going on in Turkey, in Pakistan, in Sri Lanka, in Greece, all over the place. This is the inflation. You're losing value in your dollar. What's going to happen is they think it'll be 160. What's going to happen is it's going to go to zero. It's going to hit a point nobody's going to want it. AKA Germany, 1930, right? They printed billions of Deutschmarks. Every day they were printing. And what happened? It made the value go to nothing. You're wallpapering your house. You got a wheelbarrow full of money to buy milk because they printed and made it worthless. Does that sound familiar with what the fuck they're doing here? So we're raising interest rates to kill the economy. Makes no sense to me. Your only option is gold standard, and you should never have gotten off the gold standard. And if the crooks want to get off the gold standard, tell them to go fucking move to Russia. You can be corrupt there. If every country went to the gold standard, you'd never have any issues at all. You'd never have a war. You would never need FX rates or interest rates because you don't need it. Gold is priced at $50. There you go. Why do you need interest rates? Because you're afraid you're not going to get paid back. You're going to get paid back in inflated dollars, which are worth less. So I got to charge you interest to get the money needed. If I give you an ounce of gold, you're going to pay me back an ounce and a quarter of gold. I'm fine. There's no reason for an interest rate. We work out the extra quarter. That's the cost of doing business. You got to pay me back. I got to make something. Otherwise, why loan you money? There's no reason to loan money if you're not going to make money. You're doing it as a business, AKA like a bank, which are thieves. That's what's happening. So with gold, you would never have that. So the problem now is to get off the US dollar, which is corrupt. Where do I go? Kenya's got enough problems with their own. So does Zimbabwe. They're going to gold. Funny how they went to gold to solve their inflation problems. Just read the writing there. It's right there. China, we know, is going to gold, and Russia, we know, is going to gold because they got all this fucking gold. So it's just a matter of time till they go to gold. And then we'll see what happens with the euros. They're getting out of NATO. Chances are they're going to go to gold too. For some reason, the UK, Canada, and the US is too fucking stubborn. And the Euro section, the whole Euro community in Europe, Germany, Italy, France, Spain, they're all on the Euro. They're a bunch of fucking idiots. If I was one of those countries, I would never have gotten on the gold on the Euro. I would have wanted to be independent, like Switzerland. I would have wanted to have my Swiss franc. And I'm shocked they're not on the gold standard. As much as Switzerland understands money, how they're not on the gold standard just blows my mind. Hey, Nick, how are you? Aaron Rodgers met with the okay, rib question. You don't have to just ask the question, Bobby Ball. Thank you for your question. I'm going to act like a liberal. Thank you for your question, Bobby Ball. Are those at baby back ribs or St. Louis ribs? Oh, I don't recall, Bobby Ball. I'm sorry. I can't answer the question because it's an open case right now. These are neither. These are long ribs. These are, well, I can't. They're basically, like this with the head, but they're not either. They're certainly not baby back or St. Louis. They're just regular. They're the bigger ribs. Hey, Nick. Hope all. Yeah, all was pretty good. Well, glad you're here. Got a Brady Orange Refactor PSA 10 population 1 for $47. That doesn't make any sense. Well, population 1, but is the card numbered? Where'd this Andy guy come from? I don't know. I got all kinds that listen. Most guys don't contribute. But every once in a while, he wanted to be the Teaserking. So it's not number. Okay, so the 1 just means they got 1 graded. $47, PSA 10. This is what, this year? Or what year is it? Yeah, Bobby, I always but you got to be careful with them. The sauce is really sweet. So Nick, I'm sorry, what was the year? Orange Refactor, and what's the company? Last year. He's not even playing. Well, no, okay, so he's in his Tampa uniform. So the question is, do you like it? The fact it's not numbered, but it's a PSA 10, $47. Seems like a good price as long as you like it. It should be good. But again, with Brady, you got to realize he's been around since 2000 or 2001. And so it's 20 years of cards. And they tend not to go. You're better off getting a rookie Mahomes that's not graded, that looks like a PSA 10. Well, love the good. Well, that's good then. That's also important that you enjoy the card you buy, and you should almost buy them because you like them. Like the Montana rookie, I had no idea the value was going to hit 100,000 on it. I paid $100 because I wanted a Montana rookie because I was like, okay, what cards do I want to get, man? Because I was getting the Berries and the Emmets and the Aikmans and Marinos and Elways. So it was like, Montana. So I went out. So I got the Montana rookie card, the Elway, the Marino, the Rice. And that was, so I got those cards. And then '89 came and you got Barry and Aikman and Dion is getting value and Michael Irvin's getting value. And then '90 was Emmett and Favre. So you would do that. But the later on, well, look at the Jordan, right? The rookie's $1.5 million or whatever. But as you get on to the 1990 hoops, it's $200. It's still nice price for Jordan, but you can see the difference. 80, even 87. I have the 87, and it's like 35,000 for the 10. So you can see as you get away from the rookie, unless it's a numbered card, it's not going to give you the value. But for 47, just enjoy it. I don't know if you got it on eBay, I assume. So as long as you enjoy it, it's really artwork and it's an asset. So that's good. And you got the man, it's Brady. So yeah, I mean, it's not a bad card. Yeah, you know what, Bobby, with the ribs, I get the ribs chicken last night. I don't eat it all, and then I eat it the next day. So I'm actually getting a meal for two, like Chinese. I eat it Saturday and Sunday. And then the kicker was the lady paid for it, who I never saw in my life before. And she bought my dinner, which was unbelievable. I think she felt bad because I was there alone. And I'm like, my girlfriend's in the UK. What am I supposed to do? These American girls, they're just not for me. Okay. Favre was the man. I was a fan of Favre. Yeah, he was good. You have a Brett Favre card, Professor? Of course. I got a couple of his rookie cards in the Stadium Club and then some other, a pro set, a few other sets. But I got a lot of his rookie cards. But there's one in Topps Finest. But it's not really the value. Like his didn't really go to 30,000 like the Montanas and the Russes and the Elways did and everything. Well, I got to be careful who I tell that to because a lot of people I tell it to don't even know what it is. And frankly, I didn't know what it is 6 months ago. Well, let's look at the difference between Marino and Elway. Marino, his value is not there. The same 84 tops, right? And I think the Elway goes for like 35 grand and the Marino goes for 8,700. Elway won a few Super Bowls. Marino never won any. So at the end of the day, this is what I warned Nick about is you got to be careful. Like, don't buy too many Burrows now because if he never wins, even though he's a great quarterback, the real value comes when you win. So the real value will go to Mahomes. And then guys like Herbert and your Mac Jones guys and your Tagliabue guys will basically they'll be worth 5 cents because as good as Herbert is, he ain't winning anything. And Lamar, his cards are like $10 now. I mean, who wants his rookie? He's obviously – so the hype is, oh, he's going to win Super Bowls. The card goes up. Then that's when you sell it, when you see this is this is why you have me. And I go, the guy sucks. So you don't buy the card. And if you have one and it's going, you sell it before it goes to zero. That guy's never winning a playoff game. How's he going to win a Super Bowl? And how's his card going to go up? Where's the demand going to be? Oh, he was a good running quarterback. Oh, okay, great. So is Bobby Douglas of the Bears. They never had a 500 season. Well, it's going to be him and Burrow. And unfortunate Burrow didn't get it. Stafford did, but Stafford's got no value. Favre needed more Super Bowls. And so does Aaron Rodgers. They each won one. But the key to winning it usually is the defense. And Green Bay, once in a while, they have the top defense, which is, I think, when they won the Super Bowl. He beat Pittsburgh and Rodgers beat somebody. But basically, he's got to win more. And that's really what's stopping the 49ers. And it's always stopped them. They have not had the quarterback. They had whatchamacallit with Harbaugh. I can't think of his name. The troublemaker. And now they got uh, Jesus Christ, the other Galopolo, and they couldn't win. Now they've fell into Brock Purdy, who's a very good quarterback. I like him. And notice he doesn't run. He throws the ball and he lets Deebo Samuel run for 50 yards and McCaffrey. He lets the running guys run. He throws it to him. That's what a quarterback's supposed to do, not be the runner. And then you've got guys on your team that aren't doing anything. On Lamar, you got running backs that don't carry the ball. You got wide receivers that don't catch the ball. You got a quarterback that can't throw the ball versus Brock Purdy, who sits there and throws the ball all over the place and lets the Deebo Samuels and everything go through. And if he doesn't get hurt, they probably beat Philadelphia. I think Burrow can get a ring. Yeah, at least a couple. Rodgers is a huge disappointment. Well, he's on a team with no coach and not a big defense. His talent should have gotten him at least 3 rings. I agree. Well, yeah, I mean, he just has the one, and it's ridiculous. No, didn't they? Oh, it's Favre that lost to Denver in that Elway Favre Super Bowl. But so I got my French dressing in here as the ketchup or the barbecue sauce. Right? Ken's Country Fresh. And you can see it's got sugar in it, but not high fructose corn syrup. And you can see it's very low. It's total carbs, 10 grams, 9 sugar. And that's because there's a little bit of honey in this with orange blossom honey dressing. So, but I'm not putting a lot in, right? So therefore, the sugar doesn't hurt me like it's a piece of cake or something. Won the first, then lost the second to Denver. Yeah. And that was it. And they never got there. And, Favre lost to Green Bay, to Dallas a lot. He lost a couple times to Jimmy Johnson. The Niners got good. This is where I warn you about Tom Brady not really having the competition in the AFC. Like Montana beat the 84 Bears, which is the 85 Bear defense. And then he beat, the 88, beat the Giants and beat the Bears in that freezing cold game in 88. And then he won in 89 and he won the 81, beating Dallas. So he beat good teams. And that's the thing with Brady. He lost to Pittsburgh and Baltimore when they were really good, but he never really beat that tough defensive team. They were just lousy teams. He had Miami, New England, and the Jets, or Miami, Buffalo, and the Jets, who all suck. So he got 6 easy wins. So he gets a little too much credit. Not that he's bad, but who did he really beat? Did he beat Ray Lewis? Did he beat the Steelers? I don't know. I know he beat some bad Kansas City teams with Andy Smith or whatever, or Alex Smith, and San Diego. So he didn't really play the tough teams, but that's what you want as a quarterback that wins Super Bowls. So right now, Nick needs to go after Mahomes rookies that not necessarily are graded, that the top's chrome or the refractors, they're not numbered. You can get them cheap, and or the 25, 50, like a 50 count Mahomes, like I got for $50. It's not graded as perfect. I know it's a 10, but it's not graded, but it's in mint condition. But I got it for $50 and it's 50 count. That's what Nick and you guys go after, are the ones that are 50 count or 100 count for $49. And there are plenty of those out there. That's really what you need to look at, not necessarily the, it's a PSA 10. And what's the card? What is the card that's a refractor that's not a PSA 10? And that's really, what you're looking for. But, again, you got to enjoy the card, which Nick does. He likes Mahomes. and it's a refractor, so it's a good card. No, it's a Brady card. So obviously he likes Brady, and Brady's won 52 Super Bowls, so that's a good buy. It is cheap, especially a refractor, because every regular card I pull out of Brady's PSA 10 in like 2002 and 2003 out of Tops, they're all worth $200, $300 PSA 10. So I'm a little, but again, as it gets older, you don't get the same value. So the earlier Brady's are worth more than the later Brady's, especially if you're not numbering them. He's got to be numbered, preferably, if you can. Do you ever put hot sauce on your chicken wings? I put hot mustard on them. The brown hot mustard, Gildan's or Grey Poupon or something like that. I'll put them on my chicken, or the Chinese will be chicken. Not hot sauce. I know what you're talking about. They have that stupid commercial where the guys they won't let him eat because he's not putting on the type of hot sauce. But I don't usually. But I'll have hot. What I'll have is hot mustard. So when Chinese comes, I ask them for a big thing of hot mustard. So they give me this plastic container of hot mustard, and I love that. I'll dip that. It's so hot on my chicken and it tastes so good. But I used to get like General Chow, and they'd put the hot red peppers in it. And my daughters would just, Daddy, put it in your mouth. And I'd eat one. So I'd eat it. It was, if I bit into it the wrong way, it was so hot that I literally drank like 5 glasses of water because my tongue was on fire from the heat of the pepper. And, so I don't mind the hot stuff, but I don't, well, the hot sauce is probably just peppers, just hot peppers. But no, I don't mind the heat, or I like the barbecue or the country fresh, just that little more sweet taste. So I'll tend to eat chicken and ribs like that. But not avocados. The avocados, I don't know if I'd ever put hot mustard on those. I did put, I think, Thousand Island or French dressing on them at first. The first time I started eating them, I started putting on something hot, something sweet to get a better taste. And then slowly, I didn't put anything on. And, there's not a big taste to the avocado that you're going, oh, wow. It's just pure health. It's just this tastes good and it's healthy, but it's no M&Ms or Milky Way or anything like that. But so we can see a lot of these countries going bankrupt, but they won't call it bankrupt. Now you see terms like black market out there. They're selling them a little bit higher. So if I want to buy US dollars, I got to pay more for it, which is basically just the market. So the black market is a market. It's not a government market. It's a free market. That gets you your price. So the black market price of gold, let's do that for Bobby. Let's see. Is there a black market price of gold? Probably run by the Russians. Wow, there's a lot of them. So, Bobby Bo, you might get your answer. Does the black market still exist? All right, the black market for gold is booming. This is November 2012. I'm hoping for something a little more current, but let's see what it says. Hong Kong. We might have to go to this black market, Bobby. The Philippines is richly endowed with minerals. Da, 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 da. Hmm. So according to banks, 95% of all the gold mined in the Philippines is now being sold to smugglers. Why aren't they telling us this? Of course, it's perfectly legal to bring gold tax-free into Hong Kong. This is why when Hong Kong reports its official trade statistics, gold imports from the Philippines are 30 times higher than what the Philippines government reports as gold exports to Hong Kong. Interesting. But we want gold prices. "2019, gold worth billions is smuggled out of Africa." Out of Reuters. See how we go down the rabbit hole? High prices are luring Africans into prospecting for gold, but high volumes are smuggled out through the Middle East. Billions of dollars worth of gold is being smuggled out of Africa every year through the UAE in the Middle East, a gateway to markets in Europe, the United States, and beyond. A Reuters analyst has found. Custom data shows that the UAE imported $15 billion worth of gold from Africa in 2016, more than any other country, up from 1.3 billion in 2006. The total weight was 446 tons. Much of the gold was not recorded in the exports of African states. Anyway, some economists says large amounts of gold are leaving Africa with no taxes being paid to the states that produce them. Well, if you wouldn't tax them, you wouldn't have to worry about the black market. But so there's a ton of it, but let's change it to black market gold prices. Let's see what we get. Black market gold price today. Well, no, you're not giving me black market. You're giving me, unless they're calling COMEX black markets. This is bullshit. Black market gold price. So I'm not getting. I'm not getting a. I'm getting the regular guys, right? I'm not getting a black market price. I'm getting this bullshit. Which, if I just put in gold price today, I'd get the same thing. So, are we not able to find that? I don't want to know what gold's selling. I want to know what black market gold. Bobby, got a homework assignment. If you can find this out. All right. Well, here's one on. Here's one from India in 2016. Gold rate on black market staggering. Gold rate on black market staggering, whatever. After the demonstrating of, I don't know, RS 500 and RS 1000 notes, the price of gold in the black market is almost doubled. Mookstar, November 10th. After the demonetizing of RS 500 and RS $1,000 notes. So that's their India's currency. The price of gold in the black market is almost doubled. Some jewelers today sold gold for Rs 54,000 per 10 grams. The actual price of gold is approximately 32,000. There you go, Bobby. That'll make you feel good. So on the black market in India, the gold price is not 32,000, but 54,000 on the black market. According to sources, a large number of people have been contacting goldsmiths to convert their black money into gold. Okay. Be careful. A few banks failed to convert the currency, saying they were yet to receive the cash. Some banks refused to exchange the demanded notes. They're talking about the paper notes. Let's see. Nigeria, but their price is normal. Black 2015. So I can't get a black market price today, unfortunately, because these are in grams, and this is bullshit, and this isn't black market. Well, I guess what they're looking at is black market is not the government, right? So when you go to JM Bullion and buy your gold or your silver, they're considering that black market because it's not. But that's not what we're looking at. Our definition of black market is off the radar, not, JM Bullion, but actually, what the real price is going for. So I'll look into that and see if I can find it, but it's not taking me anywhere. Yeah, I try to drink a lot of water. I'm suddenly in the mood for some sushi. I thought you were getting barbecue. Are you going to get barbecue and sushi? Well, that'll be good. What else? So we can see how everything's economics. Everything comes back to competition, supply, demand, and substitute goods and competition. That's it. That's economics. That's life. That's women. That's poker. That's groceries. You go to a different store, you substitute one food for another. Bananas are expensive. You get apples. Apples are expensive. Apples have been $2.50. I haven't bought an apple in years because they're high in carbs, but their price is way too much. About to go look at my Cougarans now. I love buying new coins. Yeah, isn't it like that was my birthday present. I got a half ounce of gold, and I would have bought silver, but they didn't have. And then we learned about gold jewelry, that it's the biggest scam in the world. The problem with the jewelry is they want to charge you for the artist or whatever. So in other words, what a gold coin costs us basically $1,900 for an ounce, right? That's what it is. We look at the spot. In jewelry, that would be $3,000, but we would never be able to get $3,000 for it. So if you're buying jewelry as a way to buy gold, worrying about being confiscated but your value is not going to be anywhere near what it should be. Yeah. So keep that in mind. The value of the gold is not. That's why you buy the gold coin. For what we're trying to do, our class, we're getting out of dollars into gold coins because that's the best way to buy the gold. It's the cleanest way. You get gold for gold. For this, because there's other things into it, I don't really know what I have. I know I have about 18 karat gold, whatever that means. I know 75% of this is an ounce, and then I know it's $1,850 an ounce. So I'm roughly getting $1,200 for something that I should have. If I bought an ounce, it would have been $250 in 1995 because that's what this was when I bought it. Gold was at $250. And again, that's such a bullshit number because it was always been J.P. Morgan COMEXing it. It's just it never really got out because nobody really cared because they were in the dollars, and the way they'd make money is with gambling and buying stocks and buying paintings. So you're investing your money or getting CDs with savings. Who the fuck would get? See, this was all from the Great Depression. People would put their money in the bank and get 3% because they didn't want to risk the stock market. Because they're idiots, they didn't know why they were in the stock market. So when the stock market started to fall, they didn't know why. They didn't know how to get in or out of it. And if we were around then, we would have made a fortune. We never would have lost because I have the sight to see when it's going down. I understand the factors, which is inflation and high interest rates is going to cause the market to crash, which is what you did in the 20s. You had a lot of inflation and the tariff act. So I would have got us out of it like I got us out of it now. You shouldn't have a stock, a mutual fund, or an ETF. You should be in cash and you're safe, and or gold and silver or your baseball cards. That's it. You are not in anything else. So I'm saving us all a ton of money when the stock market collapses soon. We know it will, so we have to just go from there. How about crab rangoon? Never had that, Bobby. Not a big crab guy. Shrimp I'll have. I don't know. The gold value is going to go up for years. So once it starts going, I'm not going to sell it to buy stock. Who knows when the stock market's going to be worth getting into because the companies are all fucked. And I can make a lot more in gold and silver. As we pointed out, you buy an ounce of silver for $25. If it goes to 50, you made 100% on it. Where are you making 100% on a stock? But I'm not even looking at 100%. I'm looking at 5,000% or 15,000% on my gold. Because it's not going to go. My silver's not going to go from 25 to 50. I made 100%. It's going to go 25 to 5,600 onto 1,000 onto 2,000. What's my return on investment on my $25 an ounce silver for $2,000? At $2,000, I can't even. It's a huge calc. But how am I going to beat that in the stock market? And it's money, and it's safe. It's indestructible. Well, gold is. So why do anything else? We found the goose laying the golden egg. Just let the goose enjoy himself. So I don't see a reason. Maybe if I did buy, it would be the gold stocks because the gold inventory goes from 25 to 2,000. It means they made big earnings, which means the stock will go way up. And people thinking they'll buy gold won't understand and will buy the gold stock. I don't think the stock market will come back for a long, long time. Just like in Japan. It was really high, and in 1989 they crashed. They still haven't gotten back, and it's 30 years later. So I am not the one who is going to sit there and run back to the stock market. Why am I in the stock market? To make money. I got gold and silver. I'm going to make more money in gold and silver than I could ever make in the stock market. And so that's why I doubt I'll go back. I don't see a reason to. You want to have some fun, buy some baseball cards, but I don't know. Maybe Coca-Cola, maybe a gold mine, but I'm going to make a lot more in gold and silver than I'm going to make in the stock. So that's the thing. We found it. We found where to go. Therefore, if we found where to go, what are we looking for? So that's really the key to it. We know what we found the goose laying the golden eggs. So there's no reason to go back to the chicken and the turkey when we found the goose. So I would just leave my money in gold and silver, and as it goes up, until I don't think it'll go up anymore, but I'll still hold it. And then if I want, maybe I sell 1 ounce to buy a car or a house. And then if I want to buy, stocks with it, maybe what stock am I going to be in that's any good? So I think what's happening is when we read that article on the stock market, and they're saying, oh, gold's down because the wars relaxed and the other stuff. And so once they understand that, again, they're trying to talk people out of buying gold, and it's just ridiculous. You're going to buy Tesla? Yeah. Why would anybody buy Tesla? Yeah, there's no demand for electric cars. And I read a story yesterday. Some lady has a Tesla or something, and it got like 60,000 miles on it, and like she needs a new. I think she needs a new engine, or she said maintenance is a lot higher. It's a lot more costly to own than you think, because you're thinking you're gas powered cars. So it says it's very high very high maintenance, and I don't think there's demand. Especially, would you buy a used electric car? That would be something you probably would never want to buy, because you're going, is it the initial battery, or how much more battery do I have at $10,000 to fix it, and the engine and the rest of the shit in it? So I don't really have that, what I'm holding. So if I don't really, if it hasn't broken, it's going to break soon. Why would I buy a used electric car? I know the battery's about to catch on fire real soon. The battery's probably wearing out, so I need a new battery. So if it's 5 years old, why would I want to use electric car? So you buy it for $60,000, and I'd say the value driving out would be worth $30,000. Now you're starting to count on the battery. I think things are going to get very interesting and exciting for the Teaserking family the next couple of months and years. Well, that's what I'm doing. That's why I do it. To quote Clint Eastwood, I do it because I can, and I can help people, and that's what I really want to do. I know I'm strange. Nobody really wants to help anybody. They just want to help themselves, but this helps me helping you. Helping Bobby and him buy silver is a very strong, I'm very happy about that. And there's no money. I'm not charging. Only football games, and that's a different animal. But this is a pleasure to teach it and get people. That's why I get frustrated when the communist guy doesn't listen. You're like, I'm not selling you anything. I'm trying to help you, and people don't even want to get helped. And you're like, what the fuck? This guy doesn't even want to he doesn't even get it. What is his problem? And that's really where my issue is. I guess nobody else helps anybody. So when somebody tries to help somebody, what's the angle? Like there's an angle, and there's no angle. Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate that. It's good to know. It's good to get the feedback, so you know you're doing something that people enjoy, respect, and I can help them with. So it is good to get the feedback. I appreciate that. Thank you. But that's really, it all comes, there's not a lot more Austrian economics I can teach you. I can go read Adam Smith, and I can maybe quote some of him, but I'm quoting Adam Smith as I'm teaching. It's all the basics. The gold standard, the laws are good, the politicians are good, the money's sound. Because if you go to gold, you get rid of all the bullshit. You get rid of the inflation, you get rid of the interest rates, You get rid of the wars. You get rid of everything. It's just a beautiful system. And then I keep proving it over and over and over. In cards, in women, in this, in that. It all gets proved out. So that's really what you're trying to do. But I don't know. I guess it's 3 hours. So I think I'll end it here. So again, the poker, that's really how you play. Sometimes you got the hand and you bet. Sometimes you got the hand and you check, and they don't know what you're doing. And you wait for the hand. I had to fold a whole lot of hands yesterday waiting for a good hand. I remember I got pocket aces finally. But basically you're waiting for that. So you got to be patient, and you can't get too frustrated that you look at 2-9 because everything runs in streaks. So you get your 2-9 for an hour, then you start getting aces. Then you can see when it's all of a sudden I'm seeing kings and queens and aces, and not 3s and 6s and 9s, and it just really you get a big benefit from it, and we will see. But anyway, so that was it. Today, Women's Day, yesterday, birthday. So it's been fun, and we will go. So we just got to check on Spain. We got to check on unemployment, just shit like that. That I should get the unemployment. They've already kind of said this is what you'll get, and the case is pending, but nobody should block me because they both said no problem, you'll get your unemployment. So nobody at the time said it. Now, are they liars? Could be, but I have proof from my last job where it says termination. Says something like terminated without cause. I got it written down on the sheet, so I can just say they said termination without cause, which is personality, or they changed. But either way, it's just they changed the scope of the job. So I should be able to collect on because unemployment is insurance. You got to remember that. That's what people don't understand. It's government insurance. When you lose your job, you paid into it, and it's bullshit because again, you should get more than what you get out of it, and you should get and it should go longer. It should be. If I'm making $1,000 a week, I should get $1,000 a week because I remember back when I started. At first, I was making like $400 a week, and I got $400 in unemployment, or roughly. And then as the inflation hit and everything's going up, that should have went up with it. So now I should be getting like $2,000 a week for unemployment because that's what I was making, and that was the whole point of it. So anyway, I think that's about it. I'm a little tired, 3 hours. Have a great day, everybody. Go to swimming a little bit. And go see about I had my dinner, so anyway, off we go. So have a good day. We'll get into college basketball, and the brackets come out, I guess. Outside of that, take care. www.teaserking.com, www.teaserking.com. Thank you, Bobby. My pleasure. Happy to help. Again, I'm glad you asked those questions because it throws me to another topic or another or something, and I can answer for you. That's the point of the class. And maybe it helps somebody else when you ask the question. But I can adapt to the next subject. It's not a problem. All right, everybody. Have a great day. I will talk to you tomorrow. Be good. Stay healthy. Wish your girlfriends a happy Women's Day. And you'll see how that'll help you. All right. Take care.